All right, we are in here. Apologies for any headphone users there, moving that mic over. But we have an off season to get started with today. As I finish getting a couple things set up here, hopefully one thing that is working, have some background music today. Since, we're not getting into any game action, we will be going through the entire off season. So with that, want to make sure that hopefully we have a little bit of something to fill in any of that negative space we have here. So those in here, if you want to let me know in the comments, how does the music sound? Can you hear the music? Is the music too low? Or are we at a good spot as we let some people jump on in here for today? Loco, welcome back in. Always a great guy. Where did I leave my controller? There it is. Always a guy here around the videos. Appreciate all your support on these videos, every series we have done. But yeah, we finished off the regular season in a bit of a disappointing fashion, where we did not make the conference championship, and on top of that, we also did not win our bowl game against the Arkansas State Red Wolves. So let's see, can we get the box score pulled up here? No. Okay, well, let's jump over then to the schedules page then. Yeah, it was not a good game. 49-17 came to a close. Definitely struggled a good bit. Loco, since we got you in here, how does the music sound? Can you hear the music? Or too loud, too soft? How we doing with the music in the background? Threw together a little bit of a playlist based off of all the other music we have in the background. It's fine. All right. We'll rock with it for now. If it does get too loud, too soft, do let me know. But we've got a lot to get done here today. After, though, what was a good season for Kent State, finishing 7-6, the troublesome spot really is going to be we could keep these guys around this year. And I think the big thing to note with that, we could go ahead and jump into looking a little bit at the recruiting, as we do have a lot of work to get done in that. But a great spot to look is starting with the My School. We, at least right now, maybe if we sim a week, it will jump up. I'm not sure what week it does happen, prestige boost. It was a good year for us, but again, we didn't win the MAC. We didn't win our bowl game, so I'm not sure we will get that star boost. But you could look at it for a whole lot of these. First off, proximity to home. We don't have anyone that cares about it at all, so not sure if that's a good thing or bad thing for us. But we have a lot of players at risk of transferring. Newbin, Anda Shields. We have Falk, Etheridge, McMoney, Newcomb. I mean, pretty much every starter and every possible starter that we might have this next season is looking at possibly transferring away. So things are going to be pretty tough here. I do not have any of the slider adjustments put in for transferring, so we could have a large number leave. I know you can cap it. I think it was not Matt 10, C4, I think it was, who made a slider set for transfers, capping it at 20. It's wide open here, so these people can leave if they want. And that was something that we kind of forced a bit with the Stanford series. So I'm not making that adjustments for this first time, because I do want to see how it ends up playing out. Do we lose a lot of these guys? Do we not? I mean, Kent State, in real life, if we want to go with the realism standpoint, they very much would be a team that would lose some of their top tier guys to some of the Power 4 conferences if they are in need for a plug and play. So we're going to play in to that aspect here and get our off season really rocking and rolling. So with that, exiting recruiting here for now. As a fun thing here for Coach Ty, I did take a look, and there were some teams offering defensive coordinator positions, which I thought was interesting because I don't really feel like the defense in general played all too well. Obviously, we will be staying here with Kent State, but it is good to see if teams are interested in Coach Ty and for what position. So one thing to note there. But let's see. Finish off here with taking a look at the season stats in case anyone did forget or did not stay around for the end of the episode after the Red Wolves loss. But Drew to Shields, an interesting season. And because he didn't put up that many stats, I am slightly concerned on transfer portal opportunities at quarterback. He was under 1,800 yards, just by a yard, but under 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He was bigger in the rushing game for us. Actually led us in rushing touchdowns with 6. On top of that, I don't remember if he had many. He did, actually. He had quite a few fumbles, 9, but some of those, I think 3, would all be the pitches there late in the triple option in that last game. Gavin Garcia, he was a great running back here for us, a surprise running back. I didn't think he would end up being the primary guy this year. I thought Nubin was going to see a lot heavier workload, and he just never really performed out there. But both of these guys at risk of transferring. Gavin Garcia averaging just under 6 yards a carry. Receiving, we were led by Christian Berry, and he had drop issues. In fact, everyone had drop issues, and I love that in this game, it is actually keeping track of those drops. 5 for Berry, though, that feels a little bit light. Martin had 6, Etheridge had 6. We really didn't have a number 1 receiver this year. Hopefully we could find that in the transfer portal. But I also have a feeling that at least Martin will look to transfer. Christian Berry will be graduating. I don't know about Etheridge. He didn't play well. We don't meet the brand exposure, but I'm not sure too many teams will be interested. So we might look to transfer, and then we might look to bring him back anyway, just to keep around someone who we know. But a lot of things are going to happen, and it's really going to come down to the players leaving screen. Blocking-wise, we didn't give up that many sacks, but we gave up a lot of pressure. That is one thing I wish the game did keep track of. Hayden Williams will be a senior after this year, and we also do not meet his pro potential deal breaker. And he nearly had 100 tackles for us. He might have missed some, but he still by far was the standout in that category. We did have a lot of players, though, making plays in the backfield. Harrell and Campbell both will be graduating. Abu Hamde, we should be able to keep him around. His deal breaker is playing time. We have an A+ there. He only needs a C+, so we should be able to keep him around. Fingers crossed. Talked about Williams. Maddox, he'll be a senior. We're looking good for his deal breaker. And Zeke Kaysen, we're not looking good for him. So we should have maybe 2 starters return on the defensive side. Interception-wise, we really didn't do much in this category. And one player who I imagine will be leaving is probably going to be CJ Young. He's a guy, though, that if we can negotiate for him to stay, we definitely will look to do that. But I think in saying that, it is time to continue on here as we've been open for a little while. Let people join on in to the stream here. I'm just checking a couple things on the stream side of things, making sure everything's running smoothly, and so far it does appear we are. Let's see, anything we have not looked at yet. We should have award winners and everything in. I did not mention it in the last video, but your Heisman Award winner is Quintravion Wisner, the Texas Longhorn quarterback. I don't know why he was the quarterback and not Arch Manning. Something might have happened weird there, but hey, I don't know. I guess they were handing the ball off more than they were running. Passing. That makes more sense. Hey, it's been a long week, so if I say anything weird, that would be why. Klubnik finishes 2nd. Ryan Williams finishes 3rd. The Baylor quarterback, Robertson, finishes 4th, with the receiver in Wilson finishing 6th. Now, I doubt we're going to be able to possibly get any transfer here from Ryan Williams. Wisner, maybe he ends up looking to hit the portal. Just a couple names to keep an eye on. I don't believe we had any award winners this year, but we will pop through those rather quickly in a season recap portion. Maxwell winner is Wisner. Walter Camp is also Wisner. Head coach goes to UNLV Dan Mullen. And I'm pretty sure we're not on this list. That is a bit disappointing. Hopefully one day we will be. Klubnik takes the Davey O'Brien. As for the Michigan Edge and Derek Moore, he takes the Bednarik. Wow. It's going to be that kind of day today. Bednarik Award. Nagurski goes to Moore as well. Thorpe goes to Wright, the Stanford cornerback. That's a good shout out to the original start of that series. He was a great corner for us. Glad he's getting his award here. Doak Walker goes to Wisner. He's taken home a lot. Litnikoff, Williams from Alabama. Derek Moore back again with the Lombardi. Klubnik takes the Unitas Award. Derek Moore back again for edge rusher. Jake Slaughter, great name, Outland Trophy. As for Jack Endries from Texas, John Mackey Award, best tight end. Just curious, no, not on the list, even though he led us in receiving. Royals goes to Sheil Wood, the defensive coordinator from Texas Tech. I doubt our coordinators would be on this list, and no, they are not. The Butkus Award, Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas. Now, any love for our guys? No. Oh no, with Williams close to the 100, I was hoping. Apparently not. Jake Slaughter has the Remington as well, so he should be a high drafted center. Drew Stevens, the kicker from Iowa, ends up taking the Lou Groza. Ray Guy goes to Oliver Straw. Apparently I needed to do some vocal warm-ups. Jet Award goes to Micah Hudson, Texas Tech. And the Sean Alexander Award goes to Bryce Underwood, quarterback for Michigan. And that gets us back to the top. I think next thing we should check out here is how the rest of the, if I can find where it is, bracket ended up wrapping up. No, we talked a little bit about it at the end of the last episode. UNLV ends up making it here season 1 as the 12th seed. They have Penn State out the gate, Oklahoma and Oregon, Miami and Baylor, Colorado and Indiana. Getting the byes is Texas, Florida, Texas Tech, and Michigan. We played Texas Tech this year. It was not a good game for us. Maybe one day it will be. But I think now we could look to move on. We'll jump into some more things as it does pop up, just to get updates. But as we move along here, what day is today? Monday. How was everyone's weekend? Anyone do anything fun? How were your preseason games? As yeah, we already know we're having a massive problem. Pro potential is going to be a big problem for several years. That'll be a thing to note for us to not try to recruit people who are looking at some of those. We really need to focus on pretty much just any proximity to home guys. We're going to be heavily recruiting Ohio, I feel like. Now, don't imagine that we've had any of our staff move on, and it doesn't look like we have. We don't have any high-end coordinators, so we'll see how things end up working out there. We do have some coaching points, and I feel like we will go into some recruiting for Ty Rozeboom. Kind of building off the tactician and recruiting, I feel like that would be a good jumping point. Learning a little bit from Coach Barrington as well, a very good recruiter, I should say. And not much for us to take a look at here in Bowl Week 2. We'll continue moving on until we get to basically the wrap-up portion of the season here. Probably one thing to note rather soon would be to see if we do get that prestige boost. I'm sure that would come after we officially wrap up the regular season here. And nothing to take a look at there either. We'll jump through another week as we continue rolling on here. National Championship Week. What are we looking like here for the college football playoff bracket? Michigan and Oregon are headed to Hard Rock Stadium. UNLV blown out in the first round, expected there. Oregon beats Oklahoma. Miami sneaks by Baylor 25-24. And you can kind of see it a little bit behind my head. Colorado and Indiana goes to Indiana. In round 2, Penn State does not beat Texas. Oregon beats Florida by a healthy margin. Miami beats Texas Tech. Lit of an upset there. And Michigan sneaking by Indiana 29-24. To then more than double Miami in the Fiesta Bowl 34-15. A close game. Oregon does beat Texas 42-40. So no Heisman winner here heading in to your national championship. Would have loved to see UNLV go a little bit further. That would have been fun. We'll check out All-Americans at the end. That's one thing we have not checked yet. See if any of our guys ended up making that list. We'll sim one more week here. Find out who our winner is. And any fun screen? No. Well, we will look to do that ourselves then. Your college football national champion. Pretty sure we already just saw it. but it is Michigan. 42-31. They take down Oregon. Oregon did put up 17 there in the third, but they couldn't hang there in the fourth quarter. I'm curious, though, if it was more running success, and I would arguably say that there's a pretty good amount of rushing in this game. Though, surprisingly, Oregon, they ran better. Is that more quarterback rushing here for Oregon? No, it was all Mekhi Hughes, who will be a senior if he does not look to go to the NFL, a 92 overall. Moore, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The sophomore quarterback. Bryce Underwood, 2 touchdowns, 350 yards. He did throw a pick, but overall, you had 4 rushing touchdowns in the mix as well. 2 for Hayes, 2 for Marshall. Michigan just simply outplayed them. And that is your season 1 technically in the books here. All done and dusted. So with that, then, we'll take a peek at the All-Americans just to see. I doubt we're going to have anyone here in the top 2. Feel free to pause if you want to read the list, but we will be looking more specifically for our players here. None on first team, none on second team. What about freshmen? Well, Drew DeShields not on that list. Probably too many turnovers. We have one. Jair Rollison. And for him, playing time was a big thing. So we still might have our number 1 corner returning next season. So that's going to be pretty big. And hopefully with being a national freshman All-American, he will see a bigger boost. We take a look specifically then at the MAC first team. We have a couple guys here. We got our edge rushers, Campbell and Carroll. Again, both are set to graduate. Second team, Garcia makes the break there. We do have some more on defense. Kanan Williams, Rollison, and Dimitri Irwin. That is a bit of a surprise. Irwin makes the list before Young. Drew DeShields, though, is the freshman All-American for the MAC. That's good to see. Again, he'll probably end up leaving. Rollison on that list as well. So Rollison receiving some awards. I'm hoping we're going to see a big boost coming from him. He might be the captain of the defense then moving into the next year. Maybe him and Abu Hamde. But I think that's pretty much all we have to take a look at here. We could see what the final top 25 ended up looking like here as well. Florida drops from 1 down to 3. Texas Tech drops from 3 to 6. Indiana drops down to 8. Miami rises. Couple shuffles around here. Duke finishes at 15. I know there's been a lot of talk of Duke having really good seasons early on in these franchises. And Auburn claws their way into the top 25 to round things out. But overall, nothing really too surprising. Southern Miss, they've played very well in several other franchises I've seen. Liberty, they played very well this year. UNLV is probably the biggest rise, or maybe even Indiana in that mix there. Besides that, it's the teams that you would pretty much expect. All right. Well, is there anything you guys want to see here? Let me know in the comments before we move on. Any last stats, player updates, anything like that? Just wait a little moment here for you all to catch up to where I'm at. Get a little drink as well. All right. Well, nothing coming in, so I think we should be good then to move along. College football history update. Just take a quick peek at that. So no back-to-back for Michigan, but pretty close. Hopefully one day we'll have some back-to-backs in there. Coach Ty trying to live up to Coach Barrington. Well, let's get the offseason officially underway here. Let's move on to the start of the offseason. And Marquise Smith, we're in first for him. He's to his top 5. That's good to see. still, however, see us as a 1-star. Not even a 1-star. We're still technically a 0-star, half-star at best. So that is pretty unfortunate. I was really hoping we would see that jump up and open us up to be able to go after some of the last remaining 3-star high school recruits. But not getting that boost means we are still stuck at the 2 stars, though transfer portal is wide open. But this is the screen that I have been worried about. I've seen mass exodus for a lot of different people's franchises, and I'm sure we're about to see a mass exodus here as well. So as we hit this button right here, who all is leaving? And it's a lot of people. Gavin Garcia, Jordan Newbin, CJ Young, Martin, Morrell, Williams, and Diallo, all extremely low, with Hazim even coming in extremely low. Drew DeShields looking to leave. Masterson and his injured self looking to leave. Boma, who can't cover, looking to leave. Kaysen looking to leave. Etheridge, Cole, Falk, 2 guys we don't know anything about. Gisson Danner looking to leave. So pretty much I would say 80% of our starters who were not already looking to graduate are about to leave. We do, however, have 4 chances to persuade people. Now, that is just 1 chance per person. And one of them I am going to take a shot on here is going to be CJ Young. You guys let me know right now, who are some other guys you want us to try to bring back? But my call here is going to be CJ Young. Persuade extremely low. And we fail the persuasion. CJ Young is moving on. Now, do we want to try to potentially bring back our quarterback? Drew DeShields, very low for him. Running back, do we try to bring back Garcia for 1 more year? I am perfectly fine seeing Newbin move on. He just didn't seem to fit in very well with our offense. Do we try to bring back Martin? It's another extremely low. Do we instead try to go more for JJ Etheridge and deal with the same problem potentially next year? Okay, saw a little spinning wheel over here, but it looks like we're good. Stream quality good, everyone? If so, let me know. As for tight end, Hazim, I think we could move on there. We do have a tight end that we have already brought in the recruiting process. Let's see here. Got a little pop-up on the screen. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Are you guys getting a smooth stream here, or is it looking a little bit laggy? OBS says we did just drop a massive amount of frames. Are we all good here? We'll hang tight for a little bit. Let me know in the comments if we're good. Leave a thumbs up or say good here. OBS is showing that the quality is coming in full strength right now. Might have just had a weird little internet glitch there, perhaps. I would love, though, if it would let me get rid of that little update. Just checking a couple things here. Yeah, there really does not seem to be a way to get that message to clear. So that is fun. We'll just have to deal with that. All right. Get everything reset back in here, how it needs to be. Yeah, still got the music coming in. All right, it looks like we're back running smoothly here. Haven't seen another drop frame yet, so we will carry on and hope that it stays smooth. All right. Do we look to bring back Diallo, one of these offensive linemen? I mean, there's no one that has a promising chance to bring back. You got Mathis here, young edge rusher. Might be pretty thin at that spot. Try to bring back ZK. I don't remember him being a 69. I feel like I remember him being a 70. Or at least in the low 70s. Could try to bring back Kanan Williams. Again, it is extremely low. A better chance at trying to bring back Dwayne Gissendanner. Let's take a look at his player card here. He would be a senior. And he does have quite a bit of room to improve. He did see pretty good playing time this year. And he is a normal dev, so he may not be the best of options, but could be someone that we do look to bring back for at least a year. And with him, we don't have to worry about having the same problem in the following year because he will be a senior. But could be a solid option. And we'll definitely have to check in on Young and see if we could re-recruit him. But I think we give an option here for Drew DeShields. See if we can persuade him to stay around here as the offense has been built around him. So Drew DeShields, very low, and also fails. We are struggling here to try to bring back some of these guys. Let's try to swing things back in our momentum here. Gissendanner with a low chance. Give us at least one success here. No. Gissendanner moving on as well. So we have one final player we can negotiate with. Do we go Martin or Etheridge? Or do we go with a linebacker who nearly had 100 tackles for us in Kanan Williams? What do you all think? Receiver, linebacker, which one is more important? Of the receivers, I would favor Deshaun Martin. His player card, normal dev for him. He can see some improvement. But would we have the same problem with him next year in looking to leave with that pro potential? That's not going to skyrocket much at all this offseason. I can tell you that for sure. We jump over to our will linebacker in Williams. He will be a senior next year. Another guy with normal dev. And he could see some improvement. Not as much, though, as Martin. What are we thinking? Do we stick with... We're trying at least to bring back Williams, or try to bring back the linebacker and keep the duo strong there. We might have a better chance of bringing in wide receiver talent than linebacker talent here in the offseason. Extremely low versus extremely low. So we're gambling pretty hard on all these guys. I think... in terms of long-term success with the team, Deshaun Martin, persuade, and we fail all 4 attempts. So everyone that looked to transfer will indeed be transferring away here from Kent State. They were tired of it here in Kent. They wanted more to be able to happen. And hopefully in the future we could prove that they should have stuck around. That's a massive amount of players leaving, and our recruiting class is nowhere close to covering all of the players leaving. So to help us, I think we need to get on in here and upgrade our coach. And that comes to recruiting. We've pretty much maxed out all we could do right now when it comes to tactician. We need to unlock the second tier, and to do that we have to win 8 top 25 games, and to do that we need talent, and that's going to come when it comes to recruiting. Now we do have 46 points to work with, and in terms of keeping things true to the player himself, we will have our first upgrade be advanced look at linebackers. That will cover 4 positions. Luckily we still have 38 more points. I think offensive line will be big. He's been about the running game. With that, you need to have offensive linemen. But now you got to think about a coach being smart here. What was the biggest weakness when it came to this offense? It was the receivers. They couldn't catch a pass. So we're going to get the advanced look there as well. Now we also have a massive opening when it comes to the quarterback group. So we should take less time to take a look at the quarterbacks as well. And defensive line-wise, that was the one thing that ran smoothly this year for this group. We had a lot of tackles for a loss. We had quite a lot of sacks as well. So we'll spend our last upgrade there as well. And that has most of the positions doing pretty good here for us. We'll still have to take more time at running backs and for the secondary, which is another weakness for us, but it was also a weak group last year. So it didn't make sense from a realistic standpoint that Coach Ty would really fit in there with the corners. So that will probably be our next go when we get the points for it. With that, I think it's time to move on, and I believe up next will be us trying to fill in all the massive holes we have on this roster. So let's jump on ahead then. Trying to come up with a game plan here. And, well, we're already getting underway, landing a receiver in LaMichael Mayo out of Dayton, Ohio. We talked about recruiting heavy in Ohio. Well, we already get one guy in here. We ran him in. That's what we're going to say. Now, it does look at the same time we also have been locked out for a guy as well, so that's great. Harris is still potentially looking to transfer. You're a little late for that, bud. Probably should have done that beforehand. He might be our new starting running back. But before we take a look here at the transfer portal, let's take a look at draft results. I doubt we have anyone drafted, and indeed we do not. I am curious, though. There were some pretty solid teams that did surprisingly well, and 3-4 guys in total drafted here from Indiana. 3 in the top 2. Fisher comes in here in the round 3, but their cornerback and receiver end up on top. What about UNLV? They made it to the college football playoffs. Long way to scroll down here, though. They get 1 into the NFL. Jaden Thomas, their running back, a junior, declares early, and he goes in round 6. What about Toledo? Toledo has 2. Round 4 in Emmanuel McNeil Warren, a strong safety, 90 overall, goes round 4. And then Vandeross, the third, 88 overall. He goes round 6. How about Bowling Green? Bowling Green do anything crazy this year? No. All right, Loco. Just now getting some of your comments coming in. We're good. Yeah, it's fine. So I feel like we're running rather a little bit behind here, perhaps, or maybe it's just now coming in for me. I don't see any more frames drop, so hopefully we are all good there. If we are indeed seeing comments come in late, I apologize for that. Do have the live chat set on here with minimal delay. So hopefully, if you guys did want us to persuade anyone, we did end up persuading the ones you all were wanting. Charlotte doesn't get anyone in. Just checking some of the small teams here. Coastal Carolina doesn't. What about Duke? They played well. They have 3 go in the first 2 rounds. Free safety dropping in there in the 5th. East Carolina, nothing. Eastern Michigan, nothing. Florida Atlantic, no. International, no. Fresno, gotta love some Fresno. We saw a lot of them in the Stanford series. They get 1 in Hamilton at corner. How about Georgia Southern? No love for Georgia Southern. Hawaii? No. Always kind of cheer for Hawaii. Hope they do well. Jacksonville State, no love there. James Madison, no. Kansas, you doing anything? A round 5 center. Bryce Foster. 1-2 check here. As do we check Liberty? No. No for Liberty. Louisiana Tech? No. I am curious to see if Texas, if they had their quarterback leave. No. But they do have a fair amount of draft guys heading on out. Was wondering, though, if Manning was already making his way out. Doesn't seem to be the case. What about Ohio? No one drafted from Ohio. Northern Illinois? No. We didn't check Arkansas State. I imagine they had at least one that got drafted. Went too far there. No? Corey Rucker goes undrafted? I don't know how we feel about that. He's a good guy. One guy to potentially look out for, though, since we do have an opening at quarterback. I have a feeling their quarterback might be looking to transfer. We'll keep an eye on him. He, I believe, is listed 4-star transfer, though, so probably not the most promising for us to try to bring in. Old Dominion, they have a round one. Jason Henderson, a 92 overall on Old Dominion. Man, he must have been carrying that team. We did check Northern Illinois. All right, so we're caught back up here to where we were at. Rice, anybody? No. No love for Rice. Rutgers have a couple end up going. DT Sheffield, great name. Sam Houston, no love for the Bearcats. San Diego State, nothing. San Jose State, nothing. SMU, they're definitely climbing. ACC, mid to high-end ACC team. South Alabama, no love there. Southern Mississippi, they get one in the 5th round. A corner, not safety, Josh Moten. Stanford, right, ends up being drafted. There we go. Temple, any love? No love for the Owls. Texas State, and we will do updates when we get to the point for conferences as well to make them accurate to where we are in real life. That will be something I will have to look up to make sure we get them all in. I know there was the potential that Clemson had been talking about moving conferences. I don't think it's for 2026, be for after their contract is up. Tulane, they bring 2 here to the NFL. What about Tulsa? No love for Tulsa. UAB, no. A couple guys here for UCF. UConn, no Huskies. UL Monroe, no Warhawk. UMass, no. You saw UNLV. Not a whole lot of love here for some of these bottom teams. Washington State, no love for the Pac-2. Western Kentucky, no. Western Michigan, no. What about Wyoming? No Cowboys there either. So not a whole lot of guys drafted when it seems like out of the group of 6 conferences now. But again, before we get to the transfer portal, I do just want to take a look at the roster and see where we are light at and where we need to attack. But right now, we have one quarterback still on a roster, and that's Rule Tomlinson. He did see some playing time last year. His deal breaker, we still aren't meeting, but he did not look to transfer. Now, the problem with him is he does not match our offense. That triple option look, and that is something I want to stick to in this series. I want us to build around the offense rather than changing the offense to fit around whatever random players we do end up bringing in. Just to have this be a little bit of a different challenge to what we had with Stanford. So that way it's not really the same series. Running back wise, we do have a few young guys. Martin, we had red-shirted. Gaines, we had red-shirted. Not much speed with this bunch, though. Do they have trucking? Even then, no, not really. Harris doesn't look to be too bad. He's slow, but he could break some tackles. But I think we could very much look at bringing in some running backs that might have a little bit more top-end speed. Good old spam call coming in. Love those. Not too worried about the fullback. Eventually down the lines, we might look at recruiting those, north-south blocking running back styles and have them play more fullback. But Terrence Bailey sticks around. We'll have him for a little while. Receiver. We do actually have quite a lot of receivers. But frankly, I would love to cut everyone who's 65 and under. So if we could bring in some help at receiver, that would be great. And this year they have actually fixed it to where when you bring in transfers, they do also improve, which is great. Sebastian Brown is the only receiver who saw regular playing time last year, semi-regular playing time, return this year. Not even DeRealist Clark sticks around. So we're going to see some new guys this year for sure. Christian Berry, why are you still here? You were supposed to graduate. I'm not sure why Barry is here, but I'm not going to complain. I guess he got an extra year of eligibility. Maybe he'll disappear here shortly. As for offensive line, I mean, no one above a 70 until you get over to Owen Griffin. So we have one starter returning. Again, unless he's also set to leave here soon. Yeah, because Campbell's also still here. So it's still showing the seniors. It's just not showing the players who transferred, I guess. Well, no, because... Well, no, Kaysen did end up leaving, so Maddox does stick around. Yeah, so I'm assuming it just hasn't updated the seniors graduating yet, which is a little strange. Because Rich is still here. He should be gone. Yeah, so a little bit of some weirdness here. As for corner, though, Rollison, the only returner for the starting three. We tried to bring back Gissendaner, didn't work out. Irwin returns, though should be graduating, I assume. It's confusing, honestly, at this point. Anyone else run into this, or am I just checking it a little bit too early here? The seniors haven't left yet. Because our kicker should also be gone. We might need to look at bringing in another kicker, though, honestly, Tommy Newcomb not far off what we had in Will. Hopefully we'll see a good jump there. Not too sure Richie's ever going to have a chance to kick for us. And we need a punter as well. So there is some work to definitely do here. But I think for sure we got to look at quarterbacks. First and foremost, we need options there. The rest, I think, is really just guys who are interested. So time to head in then to the transfer portal. We are still in a race for some high school recruits as well. We were in the front for Greg Daniels. Right now we have been locked out, but he still might end up committing to us if no other schools go after him. Holiday we are on top of, but again, Ohio coming in. We're looking good so far for Nava. Avant, we're looking good, but there are several teams interested in him. Wake Forest interested in Powell. Locked out again here for Josh Meeks. But again, we're the only one looking to go after him, so perhaps we still might end up bringing some of these guys in. But I think with that, we had to look more at bringing in some rentals. So transfer portal, even if it is a one-year wonder situation. And I don't care about the recommended. We're looking at everybody. Top option transferring is out of Auburn in Keldrick Folk. Edge rusher, second edge rusher out of Texas, and Simmons at the top. Your top quarterback option is Darian Menza from Duke. Not interested in us. There is a safety who's at least open, so that's fun. Couple safeties open at the top. What is the top option here? There are four in total that are already interested in coming to Kent State. There is a edge rusher in Jalen Thompson. Now, we just lost our edge rushers, so we're going to toss him on the board. Free safety, we did just lose both of our safeties. Colin Gill out of Charlotte, more of a lateral move, I would say. Just lost Kaysen. Well, from Virginia Tech, there is Elhaj Fall, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And another safety, this time from Georgia, Jaden Harris. A box specialist. We'll definitely take a look. All of them. But we need to narrow things down here. Are there any quarterbacks that are semi-interested or at least open in coming to us? Let's hop over here. Here's all the options. Though I wish there was a better way to sort these to where you could focus on guys that are actually interested in coming or open to, and then also sort by their rank. So USC quarterback pocket passer not going to fit us. We need someone who can run around. Austin Novosad. Pocket passer, though. A dual threat in Tyler Chambers from North Carolina. Already had enough of Bill Belichick. No teams interested yet. What is his deal breaker? Playing time. That is good for us. I think we could potentially take a look. He's also a freshman, so would be a sophomore. That would be good for us. Will Wilson. Some parents just not that unique when it comes to naming children. Maybe the father is William or something. I don't know. But NC State pure runner. Look to take a look there. Mason Kelsey. dual threat from Texas. Got another pocket passer. We'll start with the 3 quarterbacks for now. We got other guys we need to take a look at. At receiver, is there anyone who's just semi-open? Interested? Yes, there is. That's good. We're going to focus on 3 stars right now as well, because I doubt we're going to have any luck with 4 stars. If there are 4 stars who have not been recruited after the first week, I think then we go and we take a look. So starting then from the rank board here, how far do we have to fall? Well, Jurion Dickey here, contested specialist. Now that was very much a struggle for us last year. We could not catch a contested pass whatsoever. And Dickey here is from East Palo Alto, California. Now technically, Coach Ty does not have a pipeline in Northern California, because he went with Arkansas. Northern Arkansas, I believe, is what it was, because that is where he's from. But storyline wise, if we could land Jurion Dickey, that would make a whole lot of sense. A guy who probably watched Coach Ty play for Stanford. Oregon also has another guy who might be looking to leave here, Cooper Perry, a freshman. What age here? Sophomore, so would be a junior in Dickey. Cooper Perry interested. Again, we'll take a look at these guys out the gate, the few ones that are interested. A speedster from Arkansas. Again, storyline-wise, that makes sense. Ismail Cease. Jalen Mbakwe? Or Mbakwe? I'm not sure if you pronounce the M on that one or not. From Alabama. Now, playing time is big for him, so that is big for us. Put him on the board as well. That is enough receivers. Could potentially look at some running back, but I think right now I want to focus in on offensive linemen because we already are about full here on our targets board. There are a few guys that we could look to take off our board. Do we have any offensive tackles interested? Okay, not a lot. But a freshman, raw strength, Nair Daniels from Georgia. Take a look at you. What about guard? Anyone interested at guard that's in the top 1,000? Well, clearly we did not do well offensive line-wise this year because no one has interest. From Missouri, Tom Bates. Best beggars can't be choosers really at this point. That is our board full, but we could look to take a few guys off the board, those that have committed elsewhere. So Irwin, see you probably at some point going to Bowling Green. Church gone, Blade gone. Was really wanting to bring in Blade. That was unfortunate. A lot of guys on this board here. 450 points in total. We'll try to spread those out as best we can, but we still have a few more options to put on this board here. Don't think we looked at center yet. Again, any state, we want to potentially bring in the best options. And just out the gate, was there any centers in the top 1,000? There are a few, but not much. So offensive line-wise, we are not meeting much expectations whatsoever. Not even a single 3-star interested at center. So I think in that instance, we're not going to look too much there. We already do have one edge on the board. I believe we have a DT. Any chance at some former players? I almost forgot to check. I want to say he was listed here at free. We're looking for our boy in Young. CJ Young, are you potentially interested at all in coming back? I don't see Young listed here. Is he strong safety then? Any Young? Young is not interested whatsoever. So no chance we could even look to bring him back. I didn't even look at our receivers either. Was curious about bringing back Martin, but now I can't remember his name. So let's instead sort by school. scroll on down here to the K's. Only one interested in potentially coming back is Ardell Banks, someone I am unfamiliar with, so no chance we could look to bring back really any of our former receivers. The realist Clark even leaving. Now, that makes sense. He didn't get any playing time, but pro potential is what he cares about. I guess when you're the realist, it makes sense. So we'll go back over then to the linebackers. And there are options out the gate, but we are sorting here first by top end, and there are actually quite a few linebackers interested here. Some 3 stars. Tennessee, Kennesaw State, Florida, and SMU. Are any of them non-seniors? No. So these would be one-year wonders out the gate. I am interested, though, in some signal callers. So Grayson Howard will add you to the board. Alexander Kilgore will add you as well. Kilgore, I'm pretty sure in Hurricane's stream, was it yesterday, day before? I feel like he recruited Kilgore. Now another senior. So not a whole lot of underclassmen when it comes here at Mike linebacker. What about outside linebacker? Number 39 is on the board, a 4-star that is interested, or at least open to hearing from other people. No offers on the board yet. Sammy Brown, could you be the option for us? Take over for Williams, who's another guy that I also did not look at. He would be listed outside linebacker. Let's take a look here. Kanan Williams. So we're looking for C's. Kanan Williams, are you open at all? Now our board is full, so it might not actually fully show it to us. Kanan Williams would be potentially open if we make a spot for him. So I think perhaps we should look to do so. Any positions that we are looking at too many options. Quarterbacks, we need to look at all of them. To be quite frank. Running backs, we need guys there. Receivers, we already have landed 2. We are looking at quite a few receivers here. Barkway could potentially move off of. We've only brought in 1 tight end. We still might need to bring in some tight end. Well, Greg Daniels has kind of locked us up, but we do need offensive linemen in a bad way, so I don't really want to take any of them off. We're just kind of running a little thin here is what it looks like. We could take off one of these linebackers. No extra corners there. Meeks. No one to take off there. So it looks like for now, we'll have to move on through the first week without Kanan Williams on the board. Now, if he's still available, we could look to jump into that battle. But at this point, first and foremost, we come in here and we offer some scholarships. We do have around 16 more that we can offer. So we will start from the top here. Jalen Thompson, we'll give you one. Just run through here, offer all the scholarships. Hopefully we should have enough. If we don't, we will run into some problems. Because we definitely lost more than 35 people this year. And I could already tell you, we are going to have too many people on this board than scholarships we could offer. We have 5 more. And we're coming in exactly at 5. So if we land every single one of these guys, we will have maxed out our scholarships. That is how you min-max something for sure. That, again, is only if we land all these guys. Now, we have 370 more points to work with here. And I think out the gate, the ones that we should focus on are the ones that actually have interest in coming here. So out the gate, safety, we'll give up 25 there. A DT will give up 25. Another safety. Again, we need all new starting safeties. Thompson left edge. We need another starter edge. That is 100 points already spent. Now we need to focus on big needs, and that's going to be the quarterbacks. Now, obviously, we did not scout any of these guys, but frankly, any of them should be good enough to come play here at Kent State. So we're saving points that way. In the future, we will definitely do some scouting. And at the start of the next year, we definitely will do some scouting. But we have to save points right now. So Tyler Chambers. We'll give 25 across the board here to everyone of need. And we have to hope that we'll pull in front here for one of these quarterbacks. Receiver, another need here. Now, maybe we don't need to go fully 25 at receiver because we technically have enough starters. We only have one quarterback on roster right now. So if we land these receivers, that's just great. But they're not technically needed. So we'll do 15 across the board there. Offensive line is 100% needed with how bad our line is. We also don't have that much depth, so we'll offer up 25. Bates, another transfer, will give him 25. Center-wise, this not a transfer. Avant, we are still in the front of for now, so we'll play things a little risky there. DT-wise, more high schoolers. Again, we'll lay off the points for now. Linebackers, we're missing some guys, so we will offer up here. We'll go 25 there. Sammy Brown. 3 more guys. Just seeing how many more points we have to give out here. Really just for the linebackers. Still need to find a punter. That is one thing we'll look to do maybe in the final week. So with 60 points left, 3 guys, you cannot offer a clean amount here, 20 across the board. So that is annoying. We'll give up 15. That has us with 25 points. Kilgore, the junior. Ooh, just realized actually that we added points to a high schooler. We're not doing that yet. We're going hard after the transfers, and then when we hopefully bring in some of the transfers, then we'll look back to the high schoolers. So 25 points there. Then we can look to go back to the big board here. Also means for the punter, they're not getting a scholarship unless players end up choosing other teams and we get back some of those offers. So then for the guys who already have interest, big needs out the gate, we're going to go safety. So we're going to sprinkle on an extra 5 points here for the safeties. All right, what do you guys think? That look like a good spread here, covering all of our needs here in the transfer portal here so far. Still a lot of work we could obviously do. Got a full 35 on the board. If we bring in all 35, we should be semi-close to at least filling all the spots that were vacated. As I wait for you all to respond here, get an update on where we are sitting when it comes to national recruiting. Last I checked here, we just broke inside 100. All right, now we're sitting at 95 across all of college football. What about when it comes to the MAC? We're still not even the best recruiting when it's come to the MAC. Northern Illinois at the top with Miami of Ohio, both inside the top 65. Well, what do we think? We all good here? If we're good, everyone hit the 100s in the chat. Get another little drink of water here real quick. I say water. It's actually not water, but it's Gatorade. A big old thing of Gatorade here. All right. Well, no one's coming in saying we should diversify the points anywhere else, so I think that will be week 1 of our portal recruiting. A lot of guys on the board here. Hopefully we'll find out that we could actually look to bring these guys in sooner rather than later. Right. We'll jump on to the next week then. We got 4 weeks to bring in as much talent as we possibly can. How well does Coach Ty do in his first round of recruiting? Well, already we are getting massively locked out of a lot of guys. So that is concerning. We'll jump into the board here, see what the damage report looks like. And Meeks, we already knew that one. So the board definitely looks quite different. I feel like they moved some things around. All right, so pretty much every receiver we were looking at, not interested whatsoever. So that is very much disappointing. So we will have to go back to the starting board at receiver, which is definitely an area of need. And Sammy Brown uninterested, but I think we could let that slide a little bit as he is looking at Stanford right now. Ole Miss is in the mix there. So potentially some more linebackers. Quarterback-wise, though, how are we looking? Well, we are definitely not in the front for any of these guys. So I think we need to narrow things down if we are to have a chance at potentially bringing in any of these guys. And perhaps the best option might be Mason Kelsey. The dual threat, 6'4", just under 200 pounds. Also have the 6'5" guy, 202. Interesting sizes here. All guys have at least a couple offers. Now, we could also look to see if there are anyone who just hasn't yet been targeted. Take a look at all options and for quarterbacks. Anyone still in the open stages? There are. I'm curious if there are any 4-stars that are open here. No 4-stars open. What about just in general 4-star opening? There are some safety or running back. No one quite interested in yet. We might look to jump on some of these 4-stars a little bit later. At a buy war, that name sounds familiar. He would be a senior, though. All of them would be seniors. Except for the free safety there at the top. That is interesting. Any 5-stars? They are all well being recruited. Okay, it's good to know. But back to the actual board here that matters the most to us. When it comes to quarterbacks, no one outside that we were looking at. There are still some open options, though. Your runner and Kent Hilton from Hawaii. That would be interesting. Hawaii all the way to Ohio. I'm sure he wouldn't like it there. Backfield creator. Dropping out of the top 1,000, though. Well, I think we gamble a little bit at the quarterback spot. We already have at least one guy coming in Quincy Enunwa. Now, he was our 1-3-star we were allowed to go after. So, hopefully he ends up being better than expected. As of right now, we do already know, though, he's just a normal dev. So that little bit disappointing. Throw power 85, very similar to what we had in Drew DeShields. The short accuracy 74. I doubt the medium and deep are going to be much better, if at all. He has 80 speed, so there's at least someone who could still run around a little bit. I feel like we have to really narrow down our points here and start specifically targeting certain players. And I just feel like Mason Kelsey is going to be that guy. So we will pull off then here from Wilson and from Chambers. And with that, we'll have a little bit more points to then go hard in here. 50 points, send the house at Mason Kelsey. And hopefully I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Now, receiver-wise, they didn't like us. So, back to the board there, and we do need receivers. So back over to the board we go here. Anyone that is open. There are some options. From Cal, a speedster, and Trevor Rogers. We'll add him to the board. He's at least a 3-star. Got another 3-star here from the opposite, or actually not even fully opposite, just down south. Joseph Young, Florida Atlantic. We'll toss him on the board. Out of Florida, Tank Hawkins. We'll add him. I know he has good route running. There are some other open guys here. There we go. Oklahoma, Ivan Carrion. Contested. Again, we missed out on a contested guy there. 6'6", 230. Can you imagine that in the MAC? Especially if he has even decent amount of speed. Elusive route runner. Possible out of Arizona State. I think that's enough receivers. We'll go back here, and honestly, that might be too many receivers. So focusing then on some younger guys there, ironically, Joseph Young, we're going to take off the board. He would be a one-year stopgaps kind of player. So in that instance, I think we could potentially even narrow this down a little bit more. Hank Hawkins does have one offer from Coastal Carolina. Would be closer to home, though playing time matters more to him. In fact, that's the big thing for all these guys. So they all might actually be interested then. So we'll offer up some scholarships to each of them. We have the open options now to do so. And I think we give every one of them, again, the base of 25. And then with the remaining points we have, we will adjust everyone's points. So that's a good spot to get to there. So then going back over to all of our transfers, we'll jump up to the top here. Again, just looking at the transfers, we are on top for Jalen Thompson, left edge. No one else interested. On top for Colin Gill. No one else interested. So with that, we could save ourselves a little bit of points there. Try to put that onto maybe some other competitions. I want to make sure everyone has at least the 5. Now we do have tougher competition here. So we will add on the 10 points instead as Arkansas State going after the safety in Jaden Harris. We're sending the house here now for Mason Kelsey. Don't have the upgrade to send anymore. Didn't see a big boost here on Nair Daniels, though he's still not necessarily favoring us. So we will go ahead and add in some more points there. A lot of guys going after Tom Bates, but we desperately need offensive linemen. So we're going to jump in with a send the house, and hopefully that will get us into a good spot in that race. We jumped to the top on Grayson Howard. Kilgore, I don't think we're in this competition. I think Army is running away with that. Even if we go send the house, I don't think we're going to be able to jump in front of that. So for Kilgore, we're going to back off of that one. And then that gets us to the new guys there. So we have 60 points. If we could find any more linemen, any more linebackers, I think that is our best chance at finding some more guys to join on in here. So looking for open. There are no 3 stars. Limit this just to 3 stars. That'll help us out a little bit. There are opens, but there's no one interested. There we go. There's some people. So we got William Boone out of North Carolina. Another guy out of Texas. So Texas struggling to keep their team around. Another raw strength. In fact, all these guys here are raw strength. We will go ahead and add both. Get a little crazy here with it. Now we do need some linebackers. There were a lot of linebackers out the gate that were interested. There are still a lot of linebackers. In fact, I feel like even more. So then focusing instead then at the top options, got a thumper in Tellender. Take a look at you as well. And that should be all of our options out the gate for now. Again, this will change through each and every week. Now we won't be able to give all of these guys 25 points. But we will offer a scholarship to each. We will go 25 on Tellender because we need some linebackers. And then we'll go 10 here on these offensive linemen that doesn't seem to have much interest from anyone else. All right, what do we think about that? I think that's good here for week 2. We're on top for a lot of guys. Obviously, we lost options on quite a few guys. We'll check our high schoolers as well here. And we're still looking pretty solid right now. No one really looking at any of these guys right now. No boost coming in any of the recruiting. So we should still land all those high school kids. What do we think? Looking good here? If so, leave some hundreds. Take another little quick drink here. Now, it did look like we dropped a few more frames. We still looking pretty clean out here? YouTube saying excellent connection, so I'm hoping that is the case. All right, I think we'll move on from here then. Through week 2, are we going to land anyone anytime soon? We'll advance to the next week. Coach Ty's first off season. We're actually finally using the transfer portal really as well. We didn't do that much in the Stanford. And again, we're out on a couple linebackers. Really unfortunate. Jump back over to that screen. Locked out on Josh Meeks. I feel like we already were on that, so that one's okay. But Grayson Howard, we're now locked out on him. Playing style apparently has gone down. The fact that we weren't playing kind of doesn't make any sense to me. We have the C+, need the C, so why are we blocked out here then on Jeremiah Pellender? I don't know. I guess we'll find out here shortly if that's actually the case or not. No one, though, committing quite yet. And no, we're not blocked out there. In fact, no one new has seemingly blocked us out, so I don't know what that screen was all about. But we'll start again at the top here. Thompson still looking good. Now, we are at the stage of some of these guys that we could potentially look to schedule a visit if we have several guys that we could stack on, but I think for now that's really not going to help us out. So we're not going to focus too much on that. Harris, though, it's tight pursuit here. So with the extra points we have, let's try to make sure we stay on top by sending the house here. Also just taking a look at just the grades in general. And maybe with that, we could look to turn some of these into some hard or soft sells. Now, playing style is big. So honestly, for Harris, I think it would be smart for us to actually look at a hard sell. We just have to find the right match here. And we already know 2 spots, and it looks pretty promising if this is it. Team player. We know playing style is a deal breaker. Proximity to home is big for him. It's just that third one. So let's see if any of these other ones meet at least the 2 other requirements, and no. So we have probably one of our best pitches we've had all season long, and it comes with Jaden Harris. So hopefully that is a lock for us. That would be huge. We do have 2 really good options here as well for Colin Gill. So while we have the extra points, let's try to lock him down sooner rather than later then. And that is playing style mixed with playing time. Could be campus lifestyle. Again, just always good to double check, because it could also be coach stability. Not going to be clock in, though. And I want to favor the clutch here, because it's really good offers. And if that one's even accurate, that one beats our previous pitch. And luckily, no one else is going after him, so it shouldn't be a problem if it is wrong here. Do look to have another good option with Elijah Fall as well. While we have these options, let's try to maximize a reward here. Could be the same option with the team player. I don't remember if there was another one that had those 2 in the mix. No, there wasn't. I should remember that for the future. We're finding some really good pitches here. Something I was not expecting us to even possibly have this season. So really good news. Is playing time... Oh, wrong button. Is playing time big here for Kelsey? Yes, it is. Then we have a good pitch here as well. How are we doing on the recruiting board here? It is another close race, but we made up a lot of ground. And what is that? Georgia State? Perhaps with a good hard sell. Why can't I hard sell? We're not inside top 5 yet. I'm getting too antsy there with a good opportunity at a pitch. So that'll be at least one more week then. We're not into the top 5 there. We are inside the top 5 here for Tom Bates. And for him, Really don't know much information. Utah man, can you get off the screen here? Playing time is his key. But he doesn't like the proximity to home. So I don't think we're going to have too good of a pitch there. So we're going to hold then on the 50. We made up a lot of ground last week, so we should be good there. Grayson Howard thought about locking us out. Apparently decided never mind. Receiver here in Trevor Rogers. We do make up a good amount of space. We don't have any extra hours right now. Tank Hawkins, we're making up some ground. I would love to have some more points to offer there. Harrion, we're jumping into the mix at least. We'll give that one more week. Same for Hassman, who is the elusive route runner. I honestly don't remember putting him on the board, but he's there. And we got Jabron Baldwin. No love so far. In fact, for either of these offensive linemen. And for Tellender, we're still a bit behind. We will go one more week. What do we think? Still looking good here? Do we like what we're doing with these recruits? Maxing out. We technically could add one more, but we can't do anything with him yet. We'll say if you guys are enjoying as well, always a help to the channel as well to leave a thumbs up on the stream. Or if you're watching even later, post-stream, also leaving a like on the video part of it. Very much helpful. And I appreciate those that do hit that and comment fairly regularly. And we got a couple of you guys here today. So far, I'm feeling promising that we will make up for a lot of the guys that did transfer away if we can continue to land these guys. So we will then look to move on to the final week of recruiting, week 3. Done and dusted. Do we finally get our first commit? Going from week 3 to week 4. Coach Ty, is it time? Not yet. But we are in first for quite a few of these guys. Some of them are even some of those receivers, which is great news. And hopefully we won't have to worry too much about some of those risk of transferring. Hopefully next year. We'll see if that's the case. Let's see where we're at here. As for Daniel, still on the top for him, so we still might land him. Somehow we are still making some slight progress with some of these high school recruits, despite the fact we're not giving them any points. Even Meeks, who we're technically locked out on, we're still technically making some progress there. Now, this is also the week when I found out that if there are guys who do not have any offers put in, if you put in a scholarship offer, you could potentially land them. We only have one extra scholarship to work with right now. Now, Thompson, we are on top of. Akron, though, is getting in the mix, and that is a pretty solid jump. Big jump here, though, for Colin Gill, so that looks to be like we chose the right option. Fall, good jump. We're still in front here for Jaden Harris. How was his? It was all correct. That is a little bit tighter than what I would like to see, but it looked like we made up more ground than Arkansas State did. Kelsey, we're on top now of Georgia State. Nair Daniels we're on top of, and we have been blocked here playing time-wise for Tom Bates. And Bowling Green is already at the top. So in that instance, then, I will pull from there. We'll get points back and open up a scholarship, and with that, we might be able to steal someone late. Howard we're looking good with. Rogers we're looking good with. Hawkins, I am pretty happy there. We did jump in front of Coastal Carolina. Who was the guy I wanted to have a little bit more points to earlier? Was it Thompson? I feel like it was Thompson because Akron made a pretty big jump there. So let's look to add on some points here. We'll give him 40. I just want to make that a little bit more cushion. So far, looking pretty good here. Baldwin needs some more points there. We'll pull off. We'll add on the 25. That might help us out. Blocked again here, playing time for Boone. So we'll pull that. That's now 3 scholarships we could give out late, plus 30 points. But some of that is going to have to go here to Baldwin. So we'll tack on 15. That leaves us with 15. Helander, that's a big jump from week to week. So we're looking pretty solid there. Now, we technically do need a punter. We have not recruited a punter. Is there any punters transferring? Surprisingly, there are. And they're all open here. Got a power punter, another power punter. Sophomore currently versus junior. Let's go then with the guy from Oklahoma. Ulrich, we'll tack you on the board. And that's just more of a because we have to. Any top end kickers? That was also just the recommended board. Give me all options here at punter. Why are we being stingy? We still had one of the top options. So yeah, we'll stick with the Oklahoma guy just because he is on the younger side. Kicking wise, could potentially use a kicker. No one really that high up there. Got David Orlando. I added the D. Olano? Maybe another power guy. He made most of his kicks. Hit a 50 last year. 73%. Why not? And for those guys, I think I'll give them points rather than giving them a scholarship and maybe see where that puts us. But are there any 4-star players at any position who are open? And there indeed are. Free safety, edge rusher, strong safety, and a running back in Emmett Johnson. Backfield threat from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Ran for over 1,200 yards last year. He had 12 rushing touchdowns. Well, there we go. That is our board completely full. And we might just happen to land a 4-star. He might not show up immediately, but when we get to position changes, he might show up then. So in that instance, what we will do then is we do have the scholarship opportunities, is we will give it to the punter, the kicker, and the running back. And then we're going to give all of our points probably to said running back, just to help try to sway him a little bit more. So let's load up there. Do not have enough hours because I spent them on offering the scholarships. Yep, forgot about that part. Well, it's a good thing I had the 15 then remaining. Well, there we go. That is everything maxed out as we can with our 450 allotted points. We did not spend a single point on any high school recruit, though we still remain very much in front for all of them. We are looking to bring in a class totaling 35 players. That would be our largest class, I think, ever, even through the Stanford Cardinal series. But with that, we will look to move on and see how many of these players we land. Off-season recruiting is done. Coach Ty, how good is your first recruiting class here for Kent State? Our first commit is Colin Gill, the free safety from Maryland. We also land Jaden Harris, the strong safety. So a most likely new starting duo at safety. Atlanta, Georgia coming in. We land a new guard here in Greg Daniels. Don't remember if he was one of the transfers. I feel like that was a high school recruit. Pat Holliday, another high school recruit linebacker from Toledo, Ohio, taking him away from Toledo. Ben Nava, we do land a running back, Indianapolis, Indiana. And still going here with the actual high school recruits. Frederick Avant from Tampa, Florida, center. Interior offensive lineman, most in general. We land Powell, the DT, Hampton, Georgia. Still going here with high schoolers. Josh Meeks, St. Louis, Missouri. Free safety adding depth. Another DT and Marquise Smith out of Tampa, Florida. So 2 guys out of Tampa. We get Greg Rourke, running back, Washington, Maryland, though I feel like that was an athlete. We get Grant Sexton, another running back. We're loading up that running back room. Receiver, Trevor Rogers, the transfer from Cal, from Lafayette, California at that. We also get Nair Daniels, another plug-and-play offensive lineman. David Olino. I messed up his name every time so far. We get the kicker. We also land edge rusher Jalen Thompson. Another transfer guy there. Ulrich, punter. So everyone that we gave just, at least so far, that we gave just at the end the scholarships to is working. We get Carrion from Odessa, Texas, another transfer. We land who should be our starting quarterback in Mason Kelsey, the transfer, 3-star. We get Fall, another DT. Everything is falling in place right now. Grayson Howard joins. Tank Hawkins, we land a number 1 receiver. We land another receiver in Hassman. Or Haseman? Probably Hassman. We land Tellender as well. He was towards the bottom of our board, but we are still going here. We get Baldwin, another plug-and-play offensive lineman. Did we miss out on anybody? Or was that a clean sweep someone committed to pick? I saw there at the very end. Who did Pitt steal from us? You're not going to let us go back and check? There we go. Who went to Pitt? Don't be the running back. It was the running back, Emmett Johnson. Now, he still could technically end up coming to us if he didn't get a scholarship from Pitt. So we're not going to say he's gone yet until we know 100% for sure. He could also pop up even after position changes. Pitt did give him a scholarship. Okay, so he very much seems to be gone. Unless it doesn't go well there and he transfers late. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, knock on wood, until we know for sure. By the time we start the season, we do not have Emmett Johnson. Well, let's go through here and actually see what these guys all look like. We got normal dev for Spencer German. Normal dev for Anunwa. Normal for Duggar. Normal. We do have an impact here in Kevin Callaway, a left edge rusher. That's good news for us. I'm going to highlight the impacts and better. Armin Hay, receiver, impact. We did not look at any more tight ends, so we might be pretty light there. LaMichael Mayo, another receiver, impact. A whole lot of normal. Another impact here coming in. Greg Rourke. They listed him running back, and I was correct. He was an athlete. We'll see if that's where he fits best. An impact here in Jalen Thompson, edge rusher, transfer. Colin Gill is a star at safety. Normal, though, for the DT. Impact for the other safety in Harris. Impact for Kelsey. Impact for Daniels. Star for Grayson Howard. As for Trevor Rogers, he's impact. Impact for Tank Hawkins. Star for Ivan Carrion. Impact for Hassman. Impact for Baldwin. Impact for Tellender. Normal for Ulrich. Normal for David, because I keep pronouncing his name wrong. Johnson is also normal if we end up getting him. But that looks to be a very successful first class. We sign 34 players. Fingers crossed, again, knock on wood. We end up finding Johnson on the team a little bit later. But that has us, we were, 95 earlier when we checked? We jump all the way up to 66, almost jumping 30 spots. We bring in 14 3-stars, all of which, except for one, are going to be transfers. We bring in 21 high school recruits. Take 2 away because the punter and the kicker. So 19 high school recruits. That is not bad whatsoever. And for the MAC, that puts us just behind Toledo by about 2 points. They brought in more 3-stars, less 2-stars. We brought in the 2 stars for depth. We'll see how well that ends up panning out for us in the long run, but that's pretty successful, I'd say. What do you guys think? Some more 100s, perhaps? Ooh, need a little sip of water. Again, I say water. Gatorade after that. Yeah, I'm feeling positive, but we don't know the overalls here yet. So before we celebrate too early on here, let's head on over then to position changes. We do have some athletes to sort out as well. Just to check. No Johnson here listed yet. So pre-upgrades, Aiden Harris is looking to be that number one guy for us. Quarterback-wise, Mason Kelsey comes in at a 75. Now, with these 3 stars, you could range anywhere until like the lower 80s, like 81 or so, until the lower 70s. So we find a guy mid-range, but a lot of speed, good acceleration, really good agility. Awareness, however, is low. Throw power, strongest so far on the team. But the accuracies are most definitely rough. Again, this is also pre-upgrades. He is also a freshman, so he will be a sophomore next season. Throw on the run, though, looking pretty promising. Throw under pressure, not too bad either. Break sack is looking pretty high. Just don't tell me he's injury prone. 86, it could be worse, but we are still pretty light here at quarterback. So we really have to hope no one gets injured this year. Otherwise, well, we do have that athlete we need to move over in Anunwa. So he's definitely going to have to get plugged in there at quarterback for sure. See what all he's good at. Technically, he could play tight end or running back, but we need depth at quarterback. So a 70 overall, Quincy Anunwa. As for Greg Rourke, right now coming in at a 62 overall, but put him out of position, he's also 62 overall. So nothing that promising, and he 100% will be a running back. Redshirted the first year. Grant Sexton, another athlete, 59 overall current listing. Now, he could be an edge rusher who's a 61 overall. So adding depth, I guess, to that group, not very promising from some of those 2 stars. Just to make sure that is all athletes, though, taking care of it. Does look like it. Do we have to even anything out here? Also just curious on where Anunwa lands in relation to Tomlinson. Similar arm strength. Accuracy is not quite the same. But a similar type of player, just Tomlinson not really matching the scheme for us. But we'll be a solid backup. Quite a few running backs here again. Top 4 guys will see upgrades. Nava, Rourke, they're going to be redshirted. Whether they ever see playing time, that's hard to tell. Ben Nava is an 80 speed running back. That is rough. As for receiver, Tank Hawkins comes in 75 overall. Hassman a 72 and Carrion a 70. Again, all players will see upgrades. But that gives us a strong bunch here and a potential new starting 3. Wade Harris, top guy here. So actually Brown not returning. Does finally have him graduating as we have moved on here. So that is good to see. Tight end. We do actually have a decent amount of depth here, but just no one that stands out. And definitely no one with much speed either. There is Dakota Taylor. Hopefully he sees a big jump that could plug him into the starting group. Hopperton did play, I think, 1 down of memory, and that was in the last game against Arkansas State. A really great catch. But he's our worst catching guy here in terms of pure catch rating. So interesting there tackle-wise. Doesn't look like we brought in anyone here for left tackle. Yeah, we're still looking very rough here up front. Daniels was a transfer. Right now, he's our highest rated offensive lineman. We also brought in Baldwin, second highest rated lineman. Hopefully Mahoney sees a good jump. We did recruit Avant. He's down at a 62. Daniels we recruited. He's a 58. This is very different than what we had with the Stanford Cardinal. A lot of room for us to try to improve here. Man, okay, edge rushers. Jalen Thompson comes in an 82 overall. I think Gunter was already on the team here. Grant Sexton, not the worst. In fact, Kevin Calloway, a bit disappointing as one of our impact high school recruits. Not sure why that skipped my mind there, but hopefully he sees some good development. Looks like we do need to split these guys up a little bit. Only 2 guys over at right. So in that instance, why not, Mevis? We're going to send you to the opposite side here, just to try to level things as best we can. DT-wise, Fall comes in 78 overall, so a good jump in overall for us. Mason Maddox, we'll see some upgrades. The freshmen are pretty much all going to be redshirted. We only got 1 Sam linebacker in Buchanan. A lot of middle linebackers. A couple guys over at will as well. So what it's looking like is we got to spread these guys out. Tellender comes in an 83 overall and immediately takes Martin's number, 22. We bring in Howard. He's going to rock 10. So one of these guys needs to move over to the right side. And that's going to be your strong side. So who's the stronger of the 2? That is Tellender. We'll move you on over then to be our Sam. If you guys didn't know, Sam, S, strong side, Will, W, weak side. Not sure if the game really aligns them like that. And Abu Hamde, what I will do with you is, since you played so well for us last year, I will move you over to Will as well, giving him a chance to start. Though it's going to be a close race here with Nylan Brown. But the linebacker group goes from being pretty weak to now potentially strong. And I feel like we could use one more strong linebacker here. So Ojeda, though technically listed better as an edge rusher, and his archetype is speed rusher. So in that instance then, trying to remember which one had the less. I want to say it was the right edge. So Ojeda, we'll move you over then. That kind of puts him in the mix to potentially down the line see some playing time. As for our other linebackers here, just want to make sure we don't have any more edge rushers. Doesn't look like it. So 3, 4, and 2. So in that instance here, Holiday. How strong are you? Tied for the strongest of the bunch. We'll move you over to Sam as well, though technically also a slightly better edge rusher, but not the archetype for it. That leaves 3 apiece there. Cornerback-wise, we did not look to bring in any corner transfers. Not that we had the space really to add anyone extra anyway. But we did add some safeties. So Colin Gill comes in here, 79. Kevin Tucker behind him, 72. 81 for Jaden Harris. So we got a couple 80s on this team that will just look to improve. So we very much did replace CJ Young pretty easily. Well, we do need to check to see where some of our former players ended up landing as well. Looking pretty solid there. Now, let's just jump back over here to the National Signing Day. See where some of our guys ended up landing. Seems to be the easiest way to sort this is just go to the previous team, find your team, and then see where they committed to. And I will have to make note of this as well, because we might need to play some of these teams. Moving on down, a lot of transfers. Did we pass K's? I feel like we passed the K's. Maybe we did. There we are. So only showing 2. Jordan Newman goes to Missouri, and Garcia goes non-committed. So he might pop up perhaps on Bowling Green. We will need to take a look at that. I guess if we just sort here by school there, by position, maybe we'll be able to break things down a little bit here. I need to find out where our former quarterback ended up going. Or all of our former quarterbacks ended up going. Brutus Shields is headed to Wisconsin. That is honestly a nice upgrade for him. From Ohio, he stays relatively close. Darryl Cole, interesting. He ends up being picked up by South Carolina. And then Wyatt Falk, he is headed to Kappa Gamma. I don't know. Maybe he's just done with football. Already saw where our running backs went. What about our receivers? See where Martin and where Etheridge perhaps ended up. Let's see. Martin. Undecided. He could potentially go to Florida Atlantic. And Etheridge ends up being picked up by the Cincinnati Bearcats. Okay. Now, I was wondering this year if Etheridge did stick around, if we would try moving him to running back. Doesn't look like we're going to get that opportunity. Ardell Banks, he goes to Jack State. And Dorelis Clark, another guy who goes empty-handed. Could choose between either South Carolina or Indiana as a walk-on, perhaps. But yeah, we lose out on a lot of these guys, and they end up not actually going anywhere. Do they want to check out Kanan Williams and Young? That'll be like the big guys to keep an eye out on. Kanan Williams goes to join Bill Belichick. We also lost Holmes, but again, he's another guy that's just done playing the sport. And was he, I believe he was free. He might have been strong. I can never remember where I had him play at. He was our roamer over the top, though. Definitely passed the Ks. So not listed there. Free. Checked strong. And he went to Kentucky. So Kentucky is definitely a team we should play, and I feel like Wisconsin as well. See if either of these guys are starting, obviously, before we make that decision. But, I mean, the top-end guys from our team that did transfer, most of them going to a step up in competition, which is what I expected to see. So that is good to see that actually play out. We'll just have to remember that Kentucky and Wisconsin, I would love to see those two at least one more time here. But I think that is good for us to head on over to the next step here of our off season, as we have passed, what, about an hour, 40 minutes going strong here. What's great for me is I don't have to edit this video after doing this one live. Do, however, have to get the Giants video ready for tomorrow. Now, one thing I do like seeing here on this screen, you got Tomlinson already a threat to transfer. I think he's someone who probably should transfer. But now that we don't have the depth behind him, we definitely have to keep him around for 1 year. But that would be a good choice for him, because he's not going to see playing time. The playing style is just wrong. As we get a dev trade impact boost for Abu Hamdi. That is what I love to see. That man deserved it. Outside of Kanan Williams, he helped lock down the center of that defense. And that should help him stay in the running here to get some more playing time. We also see a boost for Maddox as well. He was close to double-digit sacks, if I'm not mistaken. He finished with 9 or 8. So that is great as well. He'll be in the starting lineup, or should be in the starting lineup. And that's it. 2 dev trait impact boosts for us, which is great. Training results, though. Again, everyone can upgrade outside of the high school recruits. So all the transfers should see upgrades. And this year, you actually see what is upgraded, which is just so nice. So training results, and our highest overall player is a tie between Jeremiah Tellender and Grayson Howard. The linebackers will lead the way for us. The fact that we have this amount of players, 80 plus overall, is fantastic. Our kicker is an 80 overall, falls up to an 80, another transfer. Gill, 83, Harris, 83, Thompson, 84. And our quarterback, Kelsey, goes up to 78. Tomlinson, though, does get a little bit faster, but so does Kelsey. He also put on 4 pounds in the offseason while getting faster and not getting stronger, which is interesting. Tomlinson, he gained 2 pounds. You can see it over on the right-hand side under their height and weight. What about those accuracies? So it looks like we're going to be a play action, roll, hit some mid passes, because the short accuracy doesn't really seem to be there. Now, Tomlinson's accuracies are looking really good for this level of competition. He just doesn't have the speed for the offense. Throw on the run, though, is now tied up at 82 apiece. Throw under pressure, though, is far better. Break sack is looking good. Did the injury improve at all? Yes. He got a little bit more consistent with health, which is always good, especially if he is going to be running. And we go from a freshman quarterback last year. It still has Kelsey listed as a freshman, so I guess he was redshirted. And then he's looking to move. So we still have him right now for 4 years. And if we take a look at his player card, can he look to get much better? His arm is capped. So that is not very good. His arm could get stronger, but he's already pretty much done. Unless we could get to that upgrade that lets potentially some of these caps improve, he's not going to get much better than this. So we still need to look pretty heavily at recruiting some quarterbacks for the future. That is for sure. Running back wise, Harris does go up 2. Speed goes up by 2. That kind of puts him in the mix then of all these different running backs we could potentially use. Change of direction is going to be the best with Gaines. He also has the better strength. By far the best awareness, however, not the best carrying. That is going to be Harris. Ball carrier vision, pretty even across the board. Break tackle, though, is better with Harris. No one necessarily a truck kind of guy. But you got some spin move, a little bit of some juke move. Gains, not so much. And then with Martin or Hicks, you have a guy who could catch the ball. So you definitely have an interesting mix here of running backs, and all of them are East/West playmakers. We'll see if any of them can shine like Gavin Garcia. In fact, all are a very similar size to Gavin Garcia. Not sure why Kent State was going after the same looking running backs. Harrion gets a +7 up to a 77. Hawkins gets a +3, and he has so much speed and acceleration. We've got to look to get him the ball. A lot. Screens, jet sweeps, get him involved in the triple option as well. We did a little bit late there with Etheridge. I think Hawkins is going to very much embody what we were looking to do with Etheridge. Similar size there as well at 5'10", 172 pounds. That's putting on 3 pounds in the offseason. Man, what about the catching, though, is a concern. So very much he's an Etheridge. Route running, not as clean as I remembered it being, but we do have a really good route runner here in Trevor Rogers. He's, however, a 73 overall. But we could definitely look to lighten up this receiving core at the bottom. Anyone miraculously a running back, perhaps? Doesn't look like it. Anyone really good at run blocking? Potential with Hunter, but at 5'11", 175, I don't think he's moving to tight end. Do we have anyone with height? I could have sworn one of these guys was a contested catch guy. That is Carrion, 6'6", 231, so he's going to be our red zone threat. With 90 catching, 81 catching traffic, receiving a +7 boost. Spec catches 95. I mean, he's wide receiver 1. And that has Hawkins kind of being that number 2 guy in 2 receiver sets and probably the slot receiver. Because you also have better route running across the board here with Harry Hasman. Or you get Rogers in that mix with even better route running. Hands are better. I mean, we are 4 receivers deep this year, so we'll definitely be rotating heavily. But Hawkins is definitely going to be our gadget guy, 100%. Tight end wise, Hopperton does get a little bit of a boost up to a 72. We got 3 tight ends, all of which are 69 overall. So it's going to be just plug and play whoever you want. And I'm thinking that might be Dakota Taylor. Because he's got the speed, he's got hands. Can he block? He's our second best blocker. So, yeah. Taylor's going to be tight end 2 this year, and we do need to focus on recruiting some tight ends this next season. Offensive line-wise, Jake Michaels breaks into the 70. Now, I still might shift some of these guys around to get the best players where they should be playing at, aka run blockers on the inside, pass blockers on the outside. But at least got a 70 overall there. Aldridge close, but does not break the 70 mark there at left guard. Mahoney only 1 overall improvement. That's pretty weak. But he is a pretty good pass blocker to help try to lock down things on the inside. Run blocking also isn't awful. It's just not good against the power types. Most DTs are going to be power types, so definitely will need help from the guards. Jackson Dunn is going to have to help him out, getting a +5 boost. He's also a pretty good pass blocker. Run blocking, not the best. He might be a little bit better shifted out to tackle. That'll just come down to depth chart changes pretty much for us. And then the tackles. Got Daniels and Baldwin, both seeing some decent boosts. Daniels up to a 76 with a +12 agility, 11 for change of direction. His awareness goes up 9. Pass blocking, not the best, but not the worst. He's definitely just pure strength, as the archetype suggests. He could probably play a little bit of some guard as well, but he also has 49 speed. Dude can't run at 6'8", near 350 pounds. He gained a pound in the offseason. Thompson comes in, 84, is getting that +2. What the power moves look like here, 85. Though the finesse not that far behind for a power rusher. Good block shedding, good tackling. Defensive line looks to be pretty solid again here this year. Bush gets the +1 there. Britton Bush, that's a new name. He's more of the finesse style. Not going to be much of a run stopper, but a clean tackler in open field with a little bit of pop to him as well. I like it. Ball. Do we actually have some decent block shedding this year? Decent, I would say at best, and that's with a +8 coming from Seth Nelson. But look at the 90 power moves, 85 power moves with the 83 finesse there from Maddox. +8 to the power. 11 for Seth Nelson there in the power as well. That's a big jump for him. I'd love to see it. We might have some solid DTs this year, especially again for MAC competition. We came close to MAC championship last year. Right now, we should be a front runner. Jeremiah Tellender, no boost to the speed, but he does get some strength, a little bit of some awareness. Tackling is all at a good spot. Block shed 81. He could blitz as well with a 76 power moves. Not a cover guy. Not a cover guy. The Buchanan might be more of the cover guy there at Sam with a 73 zone 70 man. He comes in 71 overall. Mike linebacker, you got Grayson Howard. Now he is the signal caller. Doesn't see a boost to his strength or athleticism. Tackling though is clean. Good block shed, a little bit of blitzing capability. And he's going to be our main cover man. Looks like 79 zone, 71 man coverage. He's a senior as well. Abu Hamde +6 and the dev boost as well. Now, is he capped out as a junior here? No, he still has room to improve. That is great to see. And playing time should always stay A+ for him. Tackling, saw a boost. Still not the best, but better. Block shedding, saw a boost. Everything so far. He's also going to be a pretty solid cover guy for us. Abu Hamde should see the field as a nickel linebacker this year, which means that our highest rated linebacker in Tellender is going to be more of a base package kind of guy. Bit interesting. Cornerback wise, we did not see the boost we were looking for here, so it's going to look a bit rough. But we have better speed with Rollison, +2 there, +2 to acceleration. Agility got better, even got a little stronger as well, put on 2 pounds in the offseason. More of a man than zone, but still pretty solid. Press did not improve at all, so we should not be doing much press this year. Overall, though, not awful. Safety-wise, Gill. We might even have to have some of these free safeties, perhaps, or safeties in general, maybe play some corner. But Gill looks to be a pretty solid over-the-top kind of guy with that 92 speed. He got +4 speed. That's crazy. Can he tackle? He could catch, and he could tackle. Yeah. Safety's looking good. So it's going to be more of the play on the outside. Harris also has 90+ speed, coming in 91 with his boost. Really good man coverage, though. So he's definitely going to be our box guy, and he is a box specialist. Honestly, one of the best pressers on the team as well. So if we run a 4-2-5 defense, he slots in great there, stepping down towards the line. I like it. Kicker-wise, got a new guy there coming in with a whole lot of power and accuracy. Sorry, Newcomb. Probably 2 candidates to cut right here at this spot if we even need to. And we're bringing a punter as well with a pretty strong leg. I like what I'm seeing here. Definitely a step forward. Even if it was Drew DeShields, he would have had to see a +7 to his overall to be the same overall here as Kelsey. But we also get an extra year with Kelsey. He's just not going to see that development as we saw earlier. Maybe with the impact, we'll get lucky. Hopefully he plays well. But training results are done and dusted there. And I think it is time we move on to our next step here of the offseason. Still a couple more things I know we need to get through. Setting up the custom conferences to match what we are actually at, and that will be here in this stage. As for encouraged transfers, we do have to lose 2, and I already know exactly who it's going to be. Newcomb, find a new home. Richie, find a new home. Just like that, we are sitting perfectly at 85. So nothing to do there. We will keep all those extra receivers. And now we need to set up those conferences. And I know there was quite a bit of movement around, mostly with rebuilding the Pac-12. I believe Pac-8 now. Pac-9 for basketball, if I'm not mistaken. So as I look to get that all set up here, we're going to have to pull that up. How is everyone doing here today? We liking the offseason so far? Smack the controller. All right. Probably should have gotten this all set up beforehand. But this looks to be what we're looking at here. So Pac-12, Mountain West changes. And I feel like there was also a Sun Belt change as well. Louisiana Tech. All right, we'll start from there. All right. Custom conferences. So from the Mountain West, we have Boise State joining Pac. We have Colorado State. There they are. We have Fresno State. I think the Mountain West also might have to be rebuilt after this. San Diego State. Utah State. Okay, that should be that. Then you got Texas State joining from the Sun Belt, which is just weird, but I guess is what it is. They have Gonzaga as well, but that's again mostly just basketball. They don't have football. Mountain West will be adding UTEP and NIU. Well, let's see. UTEP, are they Mid-American? No. Conference USA, yes. That was Mountain West, right? Yeah, Mountain West. And then the other one was NIU. I have to remember which one they're at. The American? No. Why can I not remember which one NIU's in? There they are. All right, add them to Mountain West. Louisiana Tech. Where is Louisiana Tech? I feel like they already should be in the Sun Belt. They're over here in Conference USA. And I believe they are taking Texas State spots, so we'll put them... I guess you put them in the West, but they're... I mean, well, I guess Louisiana's here, so makes sense. Okay. I think that was the last one. Okay. I also heard something about possible rumors of Clemson changing conferences, though I'm not sure where or when they were looking to do that. Let's see. So they've been looking at SEC and Big Ten. It doesn't look like there's any real look at when they would be looking to do that. So for now, we'll keep Clemson ACC. And that should have us lined up pretty spot on with the real life scenarios right now. So we'll keep it with this, but we still might look to, in future off seasons, move some people around a little bit. I think there's definitely some shuffling that should happen. Last year, we rebuilt the Pac-12 and rebuilt all these conferences based off of geography. I think this year, what we do is look to rebuild Power 5 and Group of 5. But as for what that's going to look like, I think we decide that at a later point. And if we notice a team consistently struggling in one of the quote-unquote Power 4 conferences, then we could look to move them perhaps to the Pac, though that's not looking very much like a power group right now either. So we'll see which one of the group of 6 conferences starts to dominate. And then from there, turn that into a group of, turn them into the group of 5 and get things kind of leveled out from there. And I don't know, we'll play with it a little bit by ear, but always looking for some realistic moves. So Clemson seems to be a good option for a potential move. Potentially Stanford and Cal playing cross country for conference games doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so that might change as well. But we'll all discuss that down the lines. But I think next up we have preseason recruiting. So let's take a look at that. Let's jump along here. Didn't have to do too much work for the encouraged transfers. Got through the custom conferences a little quick. I should have double checked. Pac should now have a conference championship, but I definitely should have checked that one. Moved on a little bit fast on that end. We might have to adjust things in the next offseason, but indeed we are here to the recruiting and the custom schedules. Which, first, before we do custom schedules, one, start leaving teams you want to see us play in the comments. So while we check out a couple other teams, we see what other schools we should play against. But I want to see if our former quarterback, Drew DeShields, has found himself into the starting lineup. I went too far again. For Wisconsin. No, he's buried. So I don't think we're going to play Wisconsin. The other player that we had join another team was Kentucky. And that was Young. He's also buried as well. Could potentially see some playing time as a senior. Well, that's disappointing. And then North Carolina, I believe, was where Williams went. And he's also buried as well. So we are open books here when it comes to teams that we could play against. So who would you like to see Kent State take on this season? As for right now, the custom schedule looks like this. Opening up against Ohio State. Not sure how I feel about that. In fact, we have a very strange schedule just in general here, with an open week in week 10, week 6, week 2, and week 0. We could look to open that up a little bit here. Now, does Kent State have a home and home, or just a matchup already scheduled in general here with Ohio State? Let's see. Just trying to see if there's anything written down here about them having it already pre-scheduled. They are slated to play each other September 19th, 2026, as part of a future non-conference schedule, according to Ohio State Athletics. So we will keep then Ohio State as our opener. That's going to be a real test, but honestly one that we should keep there just to keep a good gauge on where we are. But definitely going to be a tough game. So I would want week 2 to be a soft opponent just so we could kind of get to know this team a little bit. But FCS West, I don't know. I feel like I would rather play one of the newer teams that we haven't not seen yet. Other 0 stars, perhaps. Go with a Missouri State, Sam Houston. Haven't played Delaware. Delaware looks horrific. They're worse than some of these FCS teams. Charlotte's even worser, more worse. Wow, they did not do well in recruiting. Well, let's go play the Blue Hens. Hopefully that is a win. Though I don't like the fact that we have 4 of our home games within the first 5 weeks. I would rather... Do we play against Florida as well? Is that another one scheduled? Let's see. I am not seeing anything here on Florida. So we should be able to move Florida then. And mostly just because I want a home game later. It only pushes it back at a week. But still should probably go with another higher tier team, but maybe a mid-tier team. We don't need to face 2 top 10 teams. Especially one that's top 2 right now. So let's change out Florida. What about like a 3-star? What are we looking at 3 stars here? Pitt could be interesting. Stanford could be interesting. Sun Devils. I want to go with some teams we haven't played too much here on this channel. We've seen Florida State before. Wow, West Virginia is a 67 overall. That is rough. What about some 4 stars? Auburn, interesting. I'm feeling like we go Pitt. Play against some Panthers here. What do we think about Pitt? I think we'll go with that. It'll at least be another top 25 team. We need to beat some top 25 teams to get that boost for our coach skill set. Well, I cannot remember what it's called. Tactician, I think, is what we're going with. Tactician and recruiting. So we will do a versus Pitt. So we could go at Delaware. And then that gives us UConn and potentially at home late. Buffalo wrap out at home. We could go with someone else besides UConn. See, we got Toledo, we got Bowling Green, we got Miami. We don't have Ohio. Trying to think some other teams around us that could be fun to play. What about Minnesota? Where's Minnesota at? Well, tell you where they're at is not available by the looks of it. Not a whole lot of teams that are. Go with the Vanderbilts, Rutgers, we go with Army, our pistol option versus their option offense. I kind of like the sound of that. Let's add Army into the mix there. Oh, there's Ohio. So we do play all of the quote-unquote local teams this year. We'll see who the Battle of Ohio goes to. What do you guys think about that schedule? If you like the schedule, let me know in the comments, or you could go ahead and leave a 100. I'll wait for your responses. I'll take another little swig here. All right, well, we look good to go on from there. So the schedule then we will have for next season starts with Ohio State on the road, Delaware on the road. We then return home for 4 straight games: Central Michigan, Miami of Ohio, Ball State, and Pittsburgh. We then go back on the road for another stretch: Bowling Green, Toledo, and UMass. Finishing with Army at home, a little bit of a break, Ohio on the road, and Buffalo coming to our house this time. So that gives us one true rivalry this year. Technically, we do have a rivalry with Toledo. It's just not in the game. So that is a little bit unfortunate. I think only, at least so far that I've seen, Bowling Green as a rival for us in this game. But outside of that, I think the schedule looks pretty solid, so we will roll on with it, save those changes, and with that, we get really into the final bit here of our off-season. And that is setting up future off-season work by seeing what prospects we could look to bring in. And with that, take a look here at our school. Now, we are still technically a 0-star program. So that means, yet again, we could only recruit 2 stars, 1 3-star. But hopefully we'll find a little bit better talent of those stars this year. And I think we could change up the look a little bit this year, have a smaller total number of guys we look at, and spend some more time scouting to try to find those gems. As for what our grades look like, championship contender D+, F for program tradition, brand exposure D-. We're not looking too good for that NIL. It's not looking too great. Stadium atmosphere, very bland. Campus lifestyle, at least, isn't awful. A C-. We got some things going on here at Kent State. So it's not academics with a D. Conference prestige, not looking too great either. And that's more dependent on what the other teams are doing, with it being the average member team prestige, and ours is pretty low. Coach stability, though, is looking good. Coach Ty locked down for the next 5 years, so that's at least a B. We could try to pitch that a little bit more. Coach prestige, though, we don't have the best prestige across the board, so that's weighing things down. Athletic facilities can very much use a boost, and that'll just come with the overall boost of our prestige. The more highly touted our team, our school is, the more money we spend on facilities. So a lot of work to do. A lot. But as for where we start, team needs. I already know we need some tight ends. We don't need quarterback. We always will look at it, but we don't need it. In fact, on the offensive side, we have 3 seniors, a left guard, a tight end, and a receiver. We have a lot of sophomore receivers, a lot of freshman receivers. We'll redshirt some of those freshmen. So we should be pretty solid there. Still would like to look at some tight ends, but really for the offensive side, it's nothing pressing. It's just preferred. As for defense, we have 6 total seniors, 1 at left edge, 1 at DT, 1 Sam, 1 Mike, 1 corner, and 1 safety. Now, I do want to go hard on the corners this year and try to find some promising guys for the future. I feel like we didn't address that all too much this year. Safety-wise, again, we could use some. Really, for the most part, it's just finding the best possible talent across the board. We're not pressed at any position outside of kicker, where we have a senior. So there's that. So it's just kind of whoever is interested. Now, one thing, I don't know if it's going to be an option or not. We take a look at just guys who are interested at any position, any state. There are 3 stars available. So this is where I need you all to let me know. Do we stick with that rule? We can only bring in 1 3-star. If that is the case, there are 2 that are open to us, a DT and an edge rusher. 1 is a JUCO, so if I really had to choose, I would probably go with the edge rusher here. Or do we have it be a rule that if they are 3-star and they start out with interest for us, as there actually are quite a few more, not sure why they didn't show up earlier, are we allowed to go after these 3-stars? We even have a 3-star that's interested in us but already has us locked out. So that's fun. Let me know. What do you guys think? That is a big question here, right now. Are we allowed to go after 3-stars interested in us? Or do we keep the rule of just the 1? And if you do say yes, we could go after the 3-stars with pre-interest in us, we could not go after any other 3-stars. In fact, is there a way to do a poll on here? Yes, there is. All right, let's get that set up. Almost there. All right. Poll should be posted here in a moment. Go ahead and start voting. Again, all that are interested and cannot go after any other 3-stars or go after any 3-star, but just the 1 3-star. And while that is rolling through here, we'll take a look then at the 2-stars and see what the interest is that we have across the board here. As there are actually quite a few guys who are interested, which is good to see here. We might be able to fill up a whole board here with 2 stars of interest. We are looking at the top options when it comes to those 2 stars. Kicker, I know we need a kicker. Also trying to see how far back we are here on the stream. Seeing what you guys are seeing here. It's actually a fairly decent delay there. Make sure you guys vote on the poll, all or one. Got a left tackle. Always could use some tackle options. Though not interested in us at the top here. Let's focus on interest out the gate here. That'll help us narrow some things down. Running back, linebacker has interest. Quarterback, Damian Johns, a pocket passer. Not what we are looking for, despite the fact that he does have interest. Gio Rete, box specialist. Another Sam here, lurker linebacker. Got another running back. We already have, 2 on the board there? We'll add them for now. Again, we'll have to scout some of these guys. Another running back. Oh, we only had the 1 before, so now we have the 2. I see how it's working now. It's giving us what it thinks we need. It's saying we need 5 guards. That might be a little much here, game. All right, sorry, just checking a couple things over on the side here. We could add that 3rd running back for now. Again, interest might not make that final cut here. 1 corner on the board. Got quite a few linebackers, but we'll add 1 more there. Another linebacker, edge rusher from New Jersey. Looks like we have a pipeline in Jersey, which is interesting. Feel like we got plenty of edge rushers here to last us for recruiting for now. Tack on a safety there. DT, Mike linebacker. Plenty of linebackers. That's 6 linebackers now on the board. Corner, not too worried about fullbacks. Free safety. Basically just 3 safeties in general. We'll we hit about the 2,000 mark in terms of rank. Make that 4 edge rushers. Really don't need any more running backs at this point, unless they just turn out terrible. How about DTs? How many DTs? We only have 1. We'll make that 2. Tight end. That is what I want to see. We need some tight ends. At least add 1 to the board. Wills. Let's see. We got 3 on there. We could add that, make that even. Edge rusher, really not that interested, but they are interested in us. Tack them on plus the tight end. Another cornerback, Stefan Lavoie. I don't know. We're going to have to look that one up. Another edge rusher. Free safety, a tackle. There we go. Safety, why not add another running back here? Got 31 on the board right now. Another outside linebacker with a will, almost to that 2. Okay, and there it is. So that is at least all the possibilities when it comes to 2 stars. Again, can only go with the 2 stars, the 1 3-star. We'll let the poll continue on again. Remember to go vote. Are you guys seeing the poll posted? I know one way I could check is if I just went on and looked on my own phone. That would be one way to check. Make sure switch over to a different account there. Also make sure I don't play anything too loud in your guys' ears. That would also be probably pretty helpful. Let's see here if I could also see that poll after a quick advertisement. Yeah, I got the poll posted there. Make sure you guys are voting on that poll. Do we want one? Do we want all? There we go. Got a couple votes coming in here. Right now, looks like one has pulled in front. Gonna make things tricky here. Let that keep on rolling for a little bit as we look to break down some of these positions. I thought we added a quarterback. Was he an athlete? Probably was an athlete. Though none posted there. I could have sworn we had one. One popped up, but he wasn't a scramble type. So, as I bounce back and forth between menus here, let's just stick with what we got on the board for now. Running back-wise, we have 375 points here, so we don't have that much we could work with. So we should probably focus on doing the scouting that is going to be the cheapest for us. So offensive lineman was one of those. Get 40% with just one click here. And George Agunle, again, maybe if I'm pronouncing that correctly, not looking the most promising. Run blocking looking rather low. Pass blocking slightly shaded towards the middle, but nothing all too promising there. That is the only offensive lineman. So that is rough. We can take a look at the edge rushers as well. I think defensive line was one of the ones that we had set up. Yeah, we get 40% there. And we're just going to do one round of scouting on all of these guys here just to conserve a little bit of some points. Same thing we did last year. When you don't have much points, you kind of just have to gamble on some of these. Get at least the base look for what you're kind of wanting to go off of and then build from there. Kind of the best way I've found to do this. Very much different from what we had with Stanford, where we were just able to look at everybody fully or run through these positions where we could get at least 40% scouted. I think we could also do that with receivers as well over on offense. I don't think we set up the DBs. I think that was the next step we were going to go after. And we only have one receiver on the board here, so quick little scout there. Good route running, though, for George Theory. Theory was what we're going to rock with. Looks like the poll is leveled up 50 apiece. Again, make sure you go vote. All pre-interested 3 stars or just one. As for these running backs, do feel like we should narrow things down a little bit here. And we at least have a mix. We have a north-south blocker, north-south receiver, elusive bruiser, backfield threat, though a JUCO junior. I'm going to take Gessner off of this one. Even though he is one of the more higher-rated players, not looking for JUCOs. So just getting a rough gauge here then on these running backs to try to figure out if we are interested or not. Now, Harbor, who is the elusive bruiser, has the highest range of speed. Catching, not great. Break tackle, again, all the way up, but a large range. Carrying, not extremely promising. Might have a little bit of some juke. Don't know anything about the trucking or anything, but the fact that that break tackle is high, that does have me interested. Not the case when it comes to the receiving back. But I also don't feel like we've passed to the running backs that often. So I'm going to pull off here of Dylan Foss. Matt Diggs. Speed might not be the best. He's a north-south blocker, so might be a future fullback here for us. Ball carrier vision isn't awful. Has some ability to break the tackle. Speed isn't going to be anything crazy, but he might be able to do something. But at 5'11", 198, not sure he's going to fit in with what we're looking for. So again, trying to narrow things down a bit this year. Receiver, we took a brief look at him. Everything kind of seems mid-range. and I think will be decent enough to keep him on the board for now. Tight ends should see that boost. Indeed, we do get that boost. It was receivers and tight ends. 76 speed for Durant. Run blocking, though, is low. He's a physical route runner. Nothing necessarily standing out for him. Trey Tolo. He has even worse potential run blocking. Just very mid across the board. Sub 200 pounds versus 220. Honestly, neither of these tight ends really sticking out to me. So I don't think we're going to offer either of these guys. We're going to move off of them. The offensive lineman, too. Again, nothing necessarily really standing out. He is a pass protector. But that's just about all we know. We'll keep him on there for now. Getting to the defensive side, edge setter with horrific finesse moves, but he does have good block shedding. Potential for some power moves. Strength, anywhere from mid-high to high-low or low-high. Whatever that proper setup would be. Awareness is horrific. I don't think that's someone that we're going to want to keep around here. John Miners. Again, horrific when it comes to awareness. Block shedding is going to be lower. He's a speed rusher that the finesse moves is not that high, but he does have some speed. Again, doesn't look all too promising to me. He is a 2-star, so we do have to keep that in mind. Derek Sharp, another edge setter with, again, no finesse moves. Block shedding this time a little bit lower. Is a good tackler. Power moves not looking all too promising. Bertolet? Is his name really Bertoilet? That's rough. A pure power guy who does have potential for high power moves. Block shedding, though, is sitting mid-range, which does not seem promising, but he does have good tackle. He's one I think would be interesting enough to keep on. CJ Hicks, a power rusher whose power moves are mid at best. Finesse moves aren't great, but has speed to his game. Not much block shedding. We'll move off of Chick Hicks here. Earl Boschetti. He's a speed rusher with mid-range finesse moves. Speed, not that fast either. These edge rushers, not that impressive. DTs. Damian Roan. Has some finesse. Power moves are horrendous. And block shedding isn't good either. He's a speed rusher with 61 speed. Tackle, though, isn't bad. He might develop into something. Power rusher with Joey Valenzuela. Not much speed there. Block shedding, not promising. Might be able to tackle a little bit. He has some power moves. No run stoppers, though. And at 275, he's a 3-tech at best. Though that's thinking maybe a little bit more, not the fact. Well, he's also JUCO. Sorry, Joey. You're gone. Outside linebacker, Elijah Coxey. Signal caller. Doesn't have a whole lot of strength. Coverage is mid-range. Might be able to tackle and have a little bit of some speed. Could stay on there for now. Another JUCO. Really have to stand out if you're a JUCO here and you're not looking like you're going to do so. Funchess, signal caller. Zone has a higher range. Speed also on the higher range. We'll keep him around. Robert Gee. Again, zone on the higher range with speed and awareness to match, plus good tackling. I think he might be one of my favorite linebackers. Emmanuel Komar. Signal caller. Decent speed. Zone isn't awful. Might have some decent play rec. Another good guy to keep around. I like those two. Mike. D'Angelo Jones, George Talbot, and Khalil East. Now, we did not scout these guys yet, apparently. We'll go ahead and scout them. Get a decent idea here. That leaves us 145 points. And we are still tied on that poll. Make sure you jump in that here before we get back over to the prospects page. D'Angelo Jones has some zone coverage. Pursuit doesn't look bad. Speed doesn't look bad. We'll keep him on the board. Talbot, a lurker. He has some strength. but we don't know anything about block shedding as a lurker. Speed doesn't look too great either to close that gap if you're trying to lurk. I think we've got better options. And then Khalil East, another thumper. Tackling 71, but has some speed. Potential for some zone coverage. Not my favorite, but we can keep him on the board for now. Now, Sam Battles, Austin Knott, Stefan Lavoe. Again, I got to see which way that one's supposed to be pronounced. We got a couple safeties. Did we get that upgrade for the corners? We did not. So we won't have as much information here for the DBs. But we need to at least have somewhat of an idea if we should keep them around. So we'll spend the money here. Mid-range press, mid-range zone, low range for man coverage. Better man coverage. Somewhat of a baseline for some pressability. Speed is at an okay spot here for Knott. Battles also has some speed with higher zone coverage. Could potentially be a safety. Free safety, a roaming safety. I think it's possible we could keep all three on the board here for now. We'll have to spend a few more points here on these safeties to figure out if we want to keep them on. And for Jamal Rabin, not much speed for a free safety, nor does he have great potential for coverage. Not looking promising there. He's gone. Linval Iverson, high range for zone, already coming in with 73 man and a higher range of speed with awareness, acceleration. Yeah, you're sticking around. Jaquez Trask, a great name, high range for zone, not much for the man, good agility, good acceleration, should have some speed, he could stay around. Gio Rattay, probably sounds better. Mid-range, but does have some good athleticism. I think we have two other options. And at strong, we have Bartu. And he looks promising. Mid to high range here for a lot of things. Awareness a little bit low. Another guy from Tampa. We've recruited well out of Tampa. And that means we have 17 targets on the board. 65 points. And we have a tied poll. So in that instance, with a tied poll here, I will go ahead and end it. Appreciate those who voted. I will pull out an SD card. If it lands on the white side here, the label side, we will go with any 3 stars who are interested. We can recruit, but no one else. If it lands on the black side or the actual reading side, then we could just go after one of any of the 3 stars. And I guess you're just going to have to trust me on this because I don't think the camera will be able to show you. And it ended up on the floor, and it is label side up. So in that instance, any 3-star that is pre-interested in coming here, we could look at recruiting. So again, going to 3 stars of any position, and we have 5. Did I count that correctly? Yes, 5 pre-interested that have not already locked us out. So Teague, Tejeda, Wake, Kukis, and Natson, all of them are on the board, and most of them are edge rushers. Makes sense with what we did as an edge rush team last season. Now, they are already 3 stars. One is a JUCO. But because they are 3 stars, they automatically are going to get scholarships. And that's just because they are the best possible players we could look to bring in. We got a couple JUCOs actually in that mix. I think there was one more. I feel like he was on offense. We'll just go to need scholarship and look at the 3-star. Safety, actually. So none of them are on the offensive side. But another safety into the mix there. That leaves us 40 points. But we do still need to find some quarterbacks to go after. And for that, we're going to jump into a search here. So now they all have to be 2-star quarterback. And we need probably dual threat is the archetype we are looking for here. And a minimum bit of pipeline for us just to help us out in that recruiting. Open stage, or honestly, if they already are interested in us, that's even better. I think that's what we're looking for here. We have one option. Nick Streeter from New Jersey, or Jersey City, New Jersey. So we'll add him to that board then. And that means we need to take off the pipeline to get some other options. And of these options, Streeter was already the highest possible option for us. Got Keelan Kuma, perhaps. If only, we weren't locked out of some of these. What was it? Playing style, not quite right for the dual threat. Coach Prestige is good enough here for Keelan. We'll toss him on the board. Matthias Camper, another dual threat. We'll rock with 3 there. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to get all these guys scholarships at this point, doing a little bit more scouting. Just seeing what all we have on the board here versus what our needs are. No tight ends. That has got to change. I could have sworn we added a tight end. I think we ended up removing him. So tight ends then. Look at 2 stars. We've got options. I'm going to focus on people in pipelines here. So 2 guys. Were they the ones that I already scouted? I wish that told me here on this screen. Tratola, I remember that name. And then physical route runner, pretty sure that was the guy we already looked at. So we're actually going to remove those 2. And we'll take a look here at Corbin McNulty, a vertical threat. And Deshaun Westbrooks, a gritty possession. Perhaps we might need to drop one of these quarterback options. I feel like that's going to be Camper here. Just to cut out some of the higher range when it comes to national rankings. And with the 40 points we have here, we could do 1 round of recruiting for these guys. And for Kuma, it's not great when it turns to short route running. Or short accuracy. Speed might be okay. Nothing all too dominant there. Medium not looking that great. Honestly, neither of these quarterbacks looking that promising. I think we're going to move off of both of them. And then for those tight ends, hopefully something good here with our final little bit of scouting points. Maybe. If it'll let me do something with it, we'll see if we can even get the scouts going. Maybe because we're saving. Jump around a little bit more here. No, okay. Well, we will exit recruiting there since it seemed to be bugging out a little bit. It's EA. You never quite know. See if we jump back into it, if it'll let us get a couple more bits of scouting done then with the points we have. There we go. Now it's working. All right. Good catching rating coming from Corbin McNulty, the vertical threat. Run blocking in a mid-range with a high-end speed. Decent strength. Not against it. And our last bit of points spent there with a similar-looking tight end in Deshaun Westbrooks, but a different archetype. I like what I'm seeing here. This is what we will rock with here. With 24 targets on the board out the gate. We will look to whittle that down in week 0. Just seeing based off of interest in total. With that, we could go ahead and jump on forward then. Getting close to the end here. Again, if you all have enjoyed, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Couple comments coming up in here from the Doc Timbo. What's up? What's up? And is there anyone you plan on trading away in the Giants franchise? I'm doing my own, and I'm conflicted on who to trade away and who to trade for. If you've caught the first couple episodes, I talked a lot about possible guys I look to trade over there. already have traded a few, Jameis Winston being one. Singletary, ended up trading him. As for guys currently on roster that I might trade Roy Robertson Harris. He's a guy I might look to move on from. I think there's another DT as well. But basically, if they're like 30 years old and not going to get any better, and there are some potential starters down the line that are younger than them, get the younger guys some more playing time. But as we reach week 0, we only have 300 hours last year. I feel like that's even less hours than we had before. But as for what we're looking at here, just mostly going through, seeing what competitions we might have. So Funchess does have Georgia State already coming in. Got Central Michigan on Trask. He was a guy I was interested in. Miami of Ohio on Roan. Louisiana Tech on Bertoilet. I know that's not how you pronounce it, but it's close enough. A lot of guys in here on the tackle, and I don't feel like I was too interested in him. Now, I'm not going to make any adjustments past this point because I think I need to do a deeper look that requires a lot more focus than me also needing to talk. Part 2 also has quite a few amount of teams interested, but not exactly running away with it out the gate. Iowa State interested in the Will linebacker in Komar. Now, that might be a problem. But as for the 3 stars, we are looking pretty good. Some competition with a couple of them. That is expected. Ball State in here on McNulty, and Temple in here on Westbrook. So we've got some decisions to make. Probably do need to still narrow down this list a little bit more after who I want to go after. But all in all, pretty even slate for us to start when it comes to recruiting. And as we look to start winding things down here for this offseason, we will not be jumping into a practice, but we will go through the red shirts together. And let me know right now if you guys have any questions on the next season, this series, other series, plans for the future. Let me all know in the comments right here, right now, as we look to start wrapping this all up. Anunwa, we are going to redshirt. Running back wise, Rourke, Nava, if they have any hope at ever seeing playing time, it's going to have to be after they've been redshirted. Receiver wise, we are so deep, and only 2 of them can be redshirted, and obviously those 2 probably should even be cut at some point. Magnum, he was a JUCO? I feel like I remembered him being just a straight up high school recruit. Either way, he's going to need some time because he's a 58 overall. Offensive line wise, Daniels can be redshirted. Avant will be redshirted as well. German. How many edge rushers would we have here? 4 in total. Honestly, that is enough. Go back over to left edge here. Thank you very much. Sexton and Callaway, both going to be redshirted, along with Ojeda and Mevis. DT, Smith, and Powell. So really, from what it looks like, our first recruiting class, we're only going to see the transfer seeing playing time. Pat Holiday, he will also be redshirted. Brown technically could, and that would give us a little bit extra time. Because Abdullah, didn't even read it. Abu Hamde would be a senior next year while he would remain a junior. But is it even necessary? Does he have a lot of room to improve? Doc Timbo, I've considered trading for Michael Wilson of the Cardinals, but again, I just don't know. Wilson would be a good possession. I don't know the ratings in Madden, but just based off of what he does in real life, would be more of that possession style across the middle. More of a, I think, younger Slayton replacement, but only a couple years younger, I think. So it's an option. If it takes like a 4th or lower for that, or if you give them one of your older players that you're trying to basically be a cap dump for, I don't think that would be a bad trade. Because the Giants do need help for a youth at receiver outside of Neighbors. As for Brown, For what he does, I mean, he can see a little bit of some improvement. He is a normal dev. So I think what we do for now is we do put him on a red shirt. Obviously, we're going to look to go to the transfer portal a lot until we build up the depth on this team. But with not a whole lot of promise at that depth right now, maybe Jordan and Brackens, the higher end of the 60s there for redshirt freshmen. You got Donald. You might have something, but for Brown, if he's ever to be a starter, he'll need that extra time. Duggar and Killebrew, they will be redshirted. Meeks, who did end up joining, will be redshirted. He had us locked out at one point for actually quite a while. And one thing I did not check is indeed, yeah, Johnson did not end up coming here. He did end up committing to, what was that, Syracuse that came in there late? But that is pretty much us set up to start our next season. I wish they had a view lineup screen like in Madden. That would be nice. Just to see the overview of what we're looking like here. But just taking a look at the roster in general. All of our top guys here are all transfers. Tellender, Howard, Thompson, Gill, Harris, Fall. The new quarterback in Mason Kelsey. Even the kicker and the punter, transfers. Hawkins, Daniels, Daniels was a transfer. Carry on, Hassman, Harris. Abu Hamde is our highest overall original player, closely followed behind by Rule Tomlinson. So we went to work this offseason in bringing in a bunch of transfer players to fill in all the guys who left, who potentially could have been semi-close. I still think our highest overall guy from the original bunch maybe would have been close to like a 82, 83, and that would have been CJ Young. But he moved on, not into a starting lineup. In fact, I want to say he was even a 79 last time we checked. Doc again timing in here. Look forward to seeing what you do with the Giants franchise. It's been fun, yeah. And I will have a little bit of a teaser for the next episode. We will be slightly tweaking the playbook. I don't think I'll have enough time to create a full new playbook after finishing this stream here today and then getting it ready for tomorrow. But very soon we will have a custom playbook there, as we are going to be switching to more of a split backfield. I want to get Scattaboo out there a little bit. And similarly here with this series, we've got a bunch of running backs that we're going to have to trial out. So we're going to have to hit that practice field a little bit, see who's lining up for us in week 0. As we have Ohio State. It will be a tough test, to say the least. We do improve the defensive overall. We were a 64 across the board last year, but we are coming in 30 points lower across the board, overall offense and defense in Ohio State. So it's going to be rough. To put things nicely here for Kent State in the season opener, which will be on Friday. So we got a little while until then, but you got 2 episodes of the Giants to enjoy in between. And the start of a new series on MLB where we are taking over a franchise, and Cha-Cha Vaz will be a part of it. So make sure, if you have not already, hit that thumbs up. Let Coach Ty know you're excited for the series, and make sure you're here for it by hitting the bear icon in the bottom right. At least there should be in the bottom right. I'm assuming if I stream, it also shows up. If it doesn't, sub button down below and tap that bell icon so you're notified of when all these videos go live. 5 videos every week, and we will start to get the shorts posted again. It's been, I don't know, a week and a half or so since the last one. It's been busy in real life. A lot of work has been happening. Oh, call for the red. Yeah, it's not going to be the Red Sox. I can tell you that. Not going to be the Red Sox with Cha-Cha Vaz, but it's going to be with a team who's done some very interesting things over the last, 10 or so days, ever since the trade deadline. That is where I look to kickstart the series, post-trade deadline. A lot of big things happening. Hope you guys enjoyed here today. And if you're watching the post-stream, hope you enjoyed as well. And you guys were able to still get the players that you were hoping we would pull in. We landed every transfer outside of one that we put on the board at the very end. So a successful offseason. And moving forward, this really is Coach Ty's team. very little of the original Kent State Golden Flashes remain. The few that are, we hope will pull things off here for us and actually make that MAC championship this year. But we will see you guys next time as we'll go ahead and start to close out this stream. I'll leave a couple minutes here for us just to send a couple chats if you want. Outside of that, this is where you can go ahead and head on over to another video or go ahead and take a nap, whatever you need. Appreciate you guys coming. Again, I'll be here for a couple more minutes to help answer some questions if you have any. On top of that, take another drink here. Especially with that next Madden episode having to be recorded shortly after. Guess also on top of that, I can jump over to a slightly different screen here. Heisman watch. For anyone wondering, Ryan Williams seems to be the favorite out the gate. Jeremiah Smith on the board there. Arch Manning now in the list, his former running back. He ended up taking that last year. He's now a 94 overall. Isaac Brown. So you got two Florida guys. DJ Lagway won it the first year in the Stanford franchise. We'll see if he can do it here in this franchise as well. No love for our guys. Do we have preseason All-Americans yet? No? I feel like now would be a pretty good time to do that. Top 25 out the gate here. I'll scroll a little slowly. Doc, appreciate your comments all coming in here late. Giants team are definitely weird to rebuild. Yeah, it's a lot of tough decisions. You don't want to trade Dexter Lawrence. I don't want to trade Sexy Dexy either. So you probably get the largest haul for him, but he's a key guy. What, 27 years old, I believe. So you could have him for 5 or so years, probably before he sees any significant reduction in his rating. So definitely a guy to keep around. Oh, good news. ESPN, Justin Jefferson back at practice. Always good. New season starting shortly as well. I think college football also has a game this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more later. But for now, we will close out this stream once again. Appreciate you all being here. One last time, leave a like if you enjoyed, sub if you have not already. Doc, I was also thinking of doing the Patriots as well. They're interesting, but I was wanting someone that really needed a vast overhaul, and the Giants just needed it a little bit more. And speaking of the Giants, we'll see you there tomorrow, 12:30 Pacific time, as we get through 2 games this time. And if they're really bad, perhaps even 3. We'll go ahead and call that there. Hope you all have a great rest of your Monday, and those watching any later, hope you have a great rest of your day, your night, or your morning, wherever you choose to watch. Again, appreciate you guys being here, and we'll get season 2 underway rather shortly.